Hello, guys. We're here for the second Miami semifinal. And after the first one was such a disappointment, me and Tom are here today to hopefully get a bit of a better match from Grigor Dimitrov and Alexander Zverev. I do feel pretty tired as well, Tom. Yes. So, well, maybe somehow we will power through indeed.
Yes, we will. It's been a long week. I've had something on every night. I've been working during the day, and then I've had something on at the end of every shift. So I've actually not managed to catch a lot of tennis. I was actually playing football, soccer, playing 11 sides there. Home, got something to eat, and then jumped onto the stream. So you're going to have to tell me how I missed a 1 hour 11 minute destruction of Daniil Medvedev from Yannick Sinner. And even another thing, I missed the Alcaraz Dimitrov last night. I watched a bit of the highlights there while I was having some food, so we can go through that. But the players are playing, and I wondered, Damien, are you giving Dimitrov, given what you saw last night, despite a pretty grim record against Zverev? I don't believe he's beaten him in 10 years. Yeah, do you give? Can you sell me on Grigor Dimitrov coming through this match at all?
Yeah, it would be easier if I watched the match against Alcaraz, but I was out yesterday, so I did miss that. And I mean, yeah, as you said, a pretty grim record indeed. 17-5 in sets. Only beat him once in their first match, Basel 2014. After that, it's just been losses everywhere. I guess since he only took 3 sets from Zverev. Kind of similarly to the Medvedev matchup. Like it's just not very good for Grigor when he plays someone who's basically that tall counter puncher, modes that we've been watching on the tour a lot in recent years. And when someone has that sort of serving prowess of Zverev at the same time, the defense, the movement, yeah, I'm not too sold on him winning this match. Maybe I would be if in 2023 it went kind of different. But it's worth mentioning that four of these recent matches between them, they actually took place last year, and all of
Mm-hmm.
them were, yeah, I mean, pretty much all of them were very easy for Grigor. Maybe the Chengdu semi, maybe the last one, and I think Dimitrov has sort of maybe jumped up a level a little bit since. There's definitely been like a spike in his results from that, maybe let's say Shanghai run. So after that, but it was pretty brutal for Dimitrov last year, and I'm not sure I am fully sold. So it will be hard for me to convince you, because yeah, I mean, it was the 4-0 last year. So yeah, how to believe in this? Let's see if Grigor Dimitrov believes in this
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
how many
And
times have
also,
we seen Dimitrov? How many times have we seen over the years Dimitrov? Making strides and beating players, because we've always known that he can beat the best, the top players on the tour. But he's never really been one who can do it. Consistently over a week. He'll maybe get a good result. I mean, I can remember the first thing that comes to me is the Aussie Open. I think today he there was a lot of hype. Not hype, maybe is the wrong word, but there was a lot of people thinking that maybe Dimitrov could go deep in the Aussie Open and didn't get so far. So I just wonder. It just seems like he's always had that kind of monkey on his back in terms of he'll beat the big players in one round and then the next round he can't repeat that performance.
oh, sure. I mean, Grigor definitely has this reputation for, like, well, both being a very talented player. Sometimes maybe even people, I think, want a bit too much out of him. Like, early on in his career, obviously getting compared to Federer a lot, and then not really like living up to these expectations, not getting to, back to number three, back to sort of Grand Slam winning potential again after 2017. But sometimes people even want a bit too much out of him. But yeah, losses like this at the Australian Open, of course, that was the one where everyone was thinking, can he beat Medvedev in the fourth round? Because given his form, it seemed like a very fair question to ask. We don't know if he would have, but he didn't, because of losing to Nuno Borges, who played a very fine match, obviously. But yeah, it was just one of these where you kind of feel like, okay, so this is Dimitrov's career in a nutshell in a way. Since then, of course, he's gotten that Medvedev match in Indian Wells and also didn't deliver like at all. Like, yeah, that was a pretty similar match, I would say, in terms of expectations to today. The only question, because you've got the horrible record against someone, and like you feel that Dimitrov quality wise should be able to match the other guy. However, yeah, it's been a tough opponent over the years. The only question is that, sorry, not the only question, but the only difference is that this time he's coming off that Alcaraz win. So we'll
Yeah.
see what that what does what that does to him. I've heard a lot of praises. I've heard a lot of opinions on how Dimitrov played yesterday. Let's
And
see
what
it today.
are those opinions been going one way, or have those, like, have people been, maybe saying that Alcaraz maybe wasn't at a level, or has it all been like, praise for Grigor?
I've seen a lot of praise for Grigor. I've seen and heard a lot of praise for Grigor and how sort of people were stunned with his level, with some of the shots that he was pulling off. Was it maybe Nick and Jerome who did the watch along yesterday? So I was
I
talking
think
to
so.
Nick on the previous semifinal stream on Medvedev Zverev, Medvedev Sinner. So I mean, based on what I've heard, probably more so a Dimitrov thing. Obviously, for Alcaraz, after coming off the Indian Wells title, it's like absolutely fine to lose in the Miami quarters. It's a faster court too, but I've heard a lot of praise about Grigor. Yes.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I only caught glimpses, as I said. I think I didn't. I've completely not seen the first set of last night's match. It was one of those ones. Woke up early, looked at the phone, found the result, and was just like, wow, okay, right. Didn't see that one coming. Watching a bit of the second set just before we came on here. I mean, Alcaraz did. He was 4-1 down. He played his best tennis of the match, Alcaraz, to bring it back to 4-all. He had the crowd on side. The commentators were talking about Alcaraz putting up 4 or 5 notches and the kind of momentum at that stage. If I was watching that match live, I'd be thinking, right, okay, Alcaraz is going to take this set and he's going to win this in 3. But Dimitrov managed to do what Dimitrov had been doing most of the match. I think he was jumping on the Alcaraz serve early when he could. That one-handed backhand was quite devastating. I mean, I've seen I think it might have been the ATP or Tennis TV describing it as God mode in terms of the way he played. I've seen somewhere else that he got a 9.44 rating in terms of his performance, where the tour average is something like 7.57 or something like that. So he was well above the average is the point. So it's just whether or not he can find that. The question was posed to him in the post-match interview on court. You're facing Zverev, you've not beat him in a while. He just said, look, it's just another match. I don't think about these. It's just a number. So yeah, I mean, I've always kind of had a soft spot for Dimitrov. I've always wanted some good things to happen to him in his career. It hasn't quite worked out as maybe what many people thought, 10, 12, 13 years ago. But I think it's been good that the fact it's like an Indian summer. He's just he's been pulling on the performances, certainly for the last 8 or 9 months. And I'll fully be supporting Dimitrov. I don't know if we're meant to sit in the fence, but I'll be fully supporting Dimitrov in this one. And he's done not bad. He started well.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. There's pressure on Grigor to like perform today. It's good that he says this, that he probably doesn't really like feel it, and that perhaps that he's just treating this like yet another match. But obviously, like rather than the numbers, just more important for me how their games have matched up in the past, and how it's just been pretty tough for Dimitrov to like end points consistently against Zverev. But yeah, last year 4 times, that was pretty brutal defeat on a few of these. So let's see
Yeah.
if he can just forget all about that. There's also an interesting stat that like for the past 52 weeks now, because Indian Wells dropped from last year, from sort of that being relevant in that patch, in that time frame, Dimitrov has only lost 1 opening round. Like he's literally been so consistent, just getting through the first rounds of the events, and that was to Alexander Zverev. So these guys actually played each other in the opening round in the
Well, that'll be
last
Zverev
52
coming back from
weeks.
injury, won't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It was still a crazy draw, even at the time, because it was Cincinnati. So in an ATP 1000 for them to play in the
Yeah,
opening round, that was sick.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Because I mean, Zverev was
six
well
six to
back on the
six
road to
two.
recovery at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it wasn't like Zverev was, I don't know, 40 ranked or something. In fact, I don't think he ever was, because he could have been if he not, had he not defended the Roland Garros semi, right? But because he did, I
Yeah.
don't think he ever really fell outside the top 30 or something like that. But it's yeah, it's just I guess a match that I often mention in some stats work or something, because yeah, it's a bit of an anomaly for Dimitrov to lose in the opening round right now. But if you think that it was against Zverev, then you're like, yeah, makes sense.
Well, not to be biased, but Andy Murray was not far away from beating him in a first round earlier in
Yeah.
the year. So always have to try and bring it back to Andy. Looking
Mhm.
up that Zverev is actually looking for his 11th ATP Masters 1000 final, and it would be his first since May 2022. And yeah, he's won the last, like you mentioned, he's won the last four meetings. Well, he won 4 meetings last year. He's 10-1 in sets last year, so that's pretty telling. I don't think Dimitrov has been able to make an impact on the big Zverev serve. Obviously, Zverev historically, second serves were a problem for him, but he seems to have worked that out recently. And yeah, so just like having a look at their recent matches, because yeah, it was the US Open. So I mistakenly thought, I knew it was Nuno Borges who had put out Dimitrov, but for some reason Zverev was ringing in my ear about a bit of an epic one with Dimitrov, and it was a 5-set in the US Open last year. That's where I'm remembering it from. So Dimitrov can win. Well, I mean, two of those I'm just looking now. One was a tie break. Oh, it was a 4-setter. Apologies. It was, he won the first set in a tie break, and then Zverev won 7-6, 6-1, 6-1. So maybe not.
That's
Maybe
at the
maybe
French
he is
though, right?
struggling. What's that?
That's at the French though, right?
No, that was at the US Open last year on in the round of 32. The French Open last year was a pretty comfortable win, 6-1, 6-4, 6-3 for Zverev.
Oh, right, they played twice at Slams. Oh, never mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the hour. I was looking at that list just a second ago, and yeah, I looked at it wrong, and then I accused of you looking at it wrong. Sorry.
Don't worry, don't worry. It's not the worst thing that's been said to me today. So what's happening on the
I'm
court at the
sorry
moment?
then.
No, don't worry. What's happening on the court at the moment then? So what are we looking at? I just wonder where your stream is. I'm at Dimitrov 2-1, and it's love 15 actually on the Zverev serve. Although Zverev's
Right.
just served an
Yeah.
ace.
Okay. So you're actually pretty fast. I can use the fast stream then, because yeah, it's pretty much as you said that he served an ace. It was pretty much that.
Nice. Okay.
So
For once, we're on the same
yeah.
stream. You very rarely get that on Talking Tennis. So nice one. I was going to ask you then, as I said to you, I was out playing football. So can you talk to me about the Sinner Medvedev match? What happened? How was it so comprehensive? And it was just a case of Sinner is now far superior to the Daniil Medvedev game.
There's a lot more to it, but it is part of it. Yes, I mean Medvedev. I think maybe there was also a tweet from Vanch in the last couple of hours that kind of pointed it out neatly as well. But like Medvedev, the last 15 meetings against the other top 4 players that we have right now, he's lost almost all of them. So there is a bit of a story there as well in terms of the quality. There's always been really with Medvedev in the bigger matches, in the fact that his style maybe doesn't have the biggest potential, the highest ceiling. However, I have to say that it was weird because there was a bit of intent in Medvedev early on. Like he was definitely a bit more aggressive with his court positioning. He was sort of trying to put that Australian what he did in the Australian Open final, which of course back then was out of necessity because he was so tired after the 20 hours he had already in the legs going into that match. And sort of when he like kind of threw everything at Yannick in the first 2 sets, he was trying to put some of that to the test here as well. And I thought that was a very fine idea, and he kind of probably needed that. But well, first of all, to really pull it off, he needed a strong serving performance, and he was really struggling to win his games. And I think he also lost belief in his strategy very early. Like he had some points early on that he was setting up well, and then just couldn't really finish off. Sinner, for his to his credit, like right now, I might not be able like to praise him all that much after this performance, but it's also kind of his thing now that he's really impressing while not being maybe that flashy, that spectacular anymore. Like he's just a lot more controlled, a lot more reliable. His game is safer and more sustainable, more repeatable. It's been for the last 6 months, and especially this year, it feels that he's winning like most of his matches on like 85% mode. And for Sinner, I mean, he was obviously defending very well early on when Medvedev was like really adding the pressure. But I guess the only thing you can really be disappointed about for Medvedev, because, well, the error count was very high for him, but he was trying to be more aggressive. He was trying to like push the boundaries of his game. So it's understandable that, especially with his technique, it's not going to be easy to like, accelerate through the ball, and the errors will come. But he just wasn't okay with it. Like he wasn't ready for these errors to be there. Like he wasn't ready for the consequences of how he was trying to play Sinner. I don't know if it was some sort of a misunderstanding with him and maybe his coach, or did he sort of who came up with the game plan that Medvedev wasn't comfortable with. Maybe he was comfortable with it going into the match, but then kind of just lost belief in it very early, and some of the frustration, some of the negative body language. Like I know Medvedev, it's him. Like he's always gonna be like a little maybe salty sometimes on court, and he has a lot of funny moments back in the day, right? Especially on clay, but even on hard courts. But this was like kind of the peak of it. Like I can honestly say that some points he kind of threw away in a way. Like he was just not really setting up well for returns, just kind of slapping them, and I guess not even hoping that they would go in. There were two or three games like this. So it was a very disappointing effort on many levels. Quite possibly the worst defeat of his career, honestly.
Yeah.
Because you've got, I mean, there are two matches which I was thinking of about while watching that match, and one of them was Hurkacz in Halle, the loss he had when Gilles Servara left the stadium, and and he was totally hopeless. And then there's also the Indian Wells final in 2023 against Carlos. Not this one. This one was actually really good from him. I think he did push Alcaraz despite not taking a set. But the first final there they had in 2023, it was just total demolition. However, like Indian Wells, it was fine because you were expecting it. It wasn't a court he enjoyed. Against Hurkacz in Halle, still, I mean, grass, big server. I think it was also a little more manageable. But I think this loss will hurt, and especially going forwards, like into the, well, maybe not the clay season. I mean, we'll still have to wait and see how strong Yannick will be there. But going into the clay season, like it's a real problem now for Daniel. This matchup was 6-0 12 months ago. It's 6-5 now.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of questions. I mean, a really good analysis there, Damon, as always. I just wanted to ask, like, I mean, certainly from my own point of view, and a 1 hour and 11 minutes match when one of the opponents or one of the players has only got 3 games. To me, that says that that's quite long in terms of match time. So I assume there was quite a lot of rally ball just going back and forward. Was that right?
On occasion, I think there were a couple of longer games, especially in the first set, that kind of brought this, rather than perhaps the length of the rally being as high as it can sometimes be for Daniel. I would have to I have no idea about this actually, but I would have to compare it with like some other 70-minute matches, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
When it comes to the total amount of points. But yeah, I think especially on the Medvedev serve, there were just a few games early on that probably brought the match time a little higher.
Yeah. I'll ask you one more question on this particular topic, and then we'll maybe look at the guys' comments because there's quite a few decent questions coming in. I was just going to ask you, in terms of Medvedev, I saw a stat. I think his average match break points he faces is something like 7.9 this year. I think last year or for his career, it's on average something like 3 points something. So it's obviously players are working out his serve. I know that he's spoken in the past. I think it was going into I can't even remember if it was Australia. It was definitely going into the one of the Grand Slams where he was talking about his serve's just so hit and miss right now. And I just wondered, coming into this tonight, where does Medvedev go from here? In terms of his career, 2021, he's looking at winning the US Open, beating Djokovic, and at that point you're thinking that this guy, he's going to be around for years and winning finals. I noticed that he spoke in the after-match press conference, and somebody had asked him, like you said, about the clay court season coming up, and he confirmed he was going to play Monte Carlo, Madrid, Rome, and he basically said, well, I'm only getting beat off the best players, and I'm getting beat in semi-finals and finals. Is that I could drop down to 250 level, and I'm pretty sure I would win some events, but I wouldn't be as confident about playing these guys. And I just wondered, is that now going to be where Medvedev sits in the echelons of the game, of the sport right now, in terms of, he might not win another major. I know that there was a big discussion in the Talking Tennis about Tsitsipas not long ago, but Medvedev surely has got to have the question of whether or not that he will be able to, because if he beats Alcaraz, he could be facing Sinner in the next round, and vice versa. So he's got these players now who are above his level, and he can't seem to work out how to beat them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, for Medvedev and major winning chances, obviously, he kind of only has 2 opportunities a year.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, Wimbledon, to me, he always had a bit of a shot. I thought he was going to win Wimbledon in his time, but not now that Alcaraz and Sinner will likely be very good on it, on grass. I mean, yeah, then I don't know. But yeah, I mean, he's still one of the best players in the world. He's like kind of distinctly number 4 at the moment, probably. Depends on also on where you have Djokovic, because obviously this year hasn't worked out for him yet the way he was hoping for. So I would put Alcaraz and Sinner at the top. Sinner first, of course, but he has a big quality gap over anyone else than that. Like outside of the top 4, he can still beat everyone. And I like that quote actually about just playing the biggest events. I think so far it has kind of suited him, but he also needs to be ready to like maybe deal with the fact that semi-final, final losses, they will be coming. And so far this year, he's got a final in Australian Open, he's got the final in Indian Wells, and the semi in Dubai and Miami, right? So it's still been an awesome year, like 18-4. If you, for example, I don't know, multiply it by 2 or well, 2 would be too little for a season, but 3 or 4, like we would be talking about the possibly the best career season for Medvedev, maybe not in terms of titles, but just in terms of the win rate. So I think that this is a bit of a hit to him that he hasn't won a title in a while, but I guess at this stage it's mostly about the majors. And I like the part, the part of the quotes that he's just not looking for that 250 title here or there. Like he's kind of more focused on the big picture, and that's good. I guess from just a sort of he's such a good tactician and analyst on paper, at least, right? And like I kind of trust him to figure it out from time to time against these guys, but obviously today wasn't it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, last title for Daniil was Rome, amazingly, a clay court event, and then then he went into the French and lost in the first round. Hi guys, and I haven't talked, or I haven't addressed the who's in so far. So we've got the usual Jane, how you doing? Ghost, Jake's in. Keen, how you doing? I don't think I've come across you, Keen, and he's asked a couple of good questions. And I think, Damien, you're the man to answer these because your tennis knowledge is encyclopedic. So he's asked, what player has the biggest difference in their quality between surfaces? And is it too easy to pick a South American clay specialist on hard courts? I'm sure you and Vanch have probably had this discussion long into the night one night. So yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the questions from Keen are really good.
Yeah.
It's very hard to come up with answers on the spot, even. Yeah, I mean, obviously, he mentioned a certain path in the current era of like more, homogenic surfaces. Like there's no players like, I don't know, Thomas Muster, I think, for example, was number 1 but never won a match at Wimbledon. So that doesn't really happen anymore. So I guess you would have to look for, I don't know, like Navone maybe as a high-ranked player right now who is, outside of clay, just horrific. I don't think you can realistically be like right now, yeah, in the current era of tennis, you're probably gonna find something for yourself on hard courts, even as a clay specialist, on like a slower court somewhere. I'm not sure there's someone who's like so horrific on clay, for example, compared to I mean, you might find some examples of them. Bernard Tomic was in the top 20 while having like a 30% clay record. Actually, Adrian Manarino is probably also one of the best answers
Yeah,
for this with his clay record. So,
yeah,
there are some guys, yeah, but it's hard to find someone who would be like a perfect one. I think where his grass game, his hardcourt game, and his clay game is very different. Like that,
yeah,
that's not really going to happen anymore. The surfaces aren't that different, but I think yeah, a few guys that just came to me: Manarino, Tomic, yeah, like very poor clay record, but obviously also great on the other stuff. Both top 20 players at some point, and yeah, for clay, there's gonna be a lot of South American clay specialists that kinda can't do anything on hard courts. Oh, Federico Coria, for example, right? That would be a good one. Del Bonis, I think, for years was struggling to win a match on hard courts. Well, recently, someone like Ramos Vignolas, I think, also hasn't won on hard in ages, despite him once beating Federer, even in Shanghai, and I think even having a main tour final. But yeah, right now it's pretty hard to find like true answers to this because the surfaces are just too well much closer to one another than they used to be.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I listen to tennis podcast, a UK-based tennis podcast, and one of the guys on that basically describes, and this is a guy who's about the tour, and he describes Wimbledon as not a grass court tournament. So he basically says it's like concrete underneath, and it's specialty grass, so it's no longer a grass court tournament. So I suppose that does play into the equation of the conversation in terms of the court's getting played quicker and quicker because they want the matches done sooner and it more entertaining, and they don't want to come away from 5 sets. So they think that people will get bored, so they try and make the courts quicker, and then they all become the same, I suppose. And there's very minimal differences. Not much difference between these two players. Dimitrov came through his toughest service game so far, taken to deuce a couple of times, but managed to come through that one unscathed. Zverev is playing well as well, but it's 15 all in this one. Yeah, Dimitrov, I'm sure it's going to be one of these ones. He really is the player who needs to take the first set. Certainly for me, I think if Zverev takes the first set, I think the air can pop out of the balloon for the Dimitrov camp. So I'd say that he's. I'm sure his team's maybe said that to him as well. He's like, you need to focus on this first set. But yeah, are you seeing anything in terms of where this game is getting, or this match is could be won and lost so far? I know it's very, very tight.
Yeah, Zverev had some opportunities right in the previous game. Definitely has been like a bit of a stronger player so far, but yeah, as long as Grigor can keep holding here, obviously nothing wrong will happen to him before the tie break. So he can kind of get these service games onto his score and then just try pushing for the break. We'll see. But for now, maybe he hasn't been too successful with it. But it's also not a horrible start, using that slice nicely to. Yeah, this version of Grigor obviously is like a little more mature these days, and maybe this is a guy who kind of makes you believe that he can yeah, just throw in something different, go for maybe a play that will surprise Zverev from time to time. But yeah, if he falls behind, indeed, it would be a little tough to expect the comeback. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and Ghost rightly points out that currently has more winners and more aces than Zverev. Of course, I think Zverev's got the highest serve rating on the men's tour. If I read that somewhere, that's where you see some information on Twitter. You can't remember where you seen it, or if you just made it up, or you dreamt it. But I'm sure I saw somewhere that Zverev has the highest serve rating on the men's side. Cian, another good question. So I'm going to put up this comment because he's trying to preempt your answer, Damien. But it goes back to the one that he asked a lot earlier on. It was a supplementary question, as we call it in the game, and he said, who do you think are the most overranked and underranked players at the moment? So he's guessing that you're going to say Eubanks, and underrated is Camille.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Schack is a fine choice for underrated, but he's kind of a lazy one as well because he just returned from from the doping suspension, so 3 months in he's top 400. Obviously, that's not where he should be. I do think he has a solid chance of maybe even finishing top 100. We'll see if he keeps going. Eubanks is definitely a great choice for overrated. Like, besides Mallorca and Wimbledon, Chris wouldn't be top 100 right now. And to me, his level is precisely that, probably just kind of fringe top 100, while he still keeps a ranking of around 40. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good shout. Um, but yeah, underranked. I mean, depends on the whether we're talking form or quality. But because Medvedev has sort of, his season has fallen apart with some injury or illness. Like at the end of the year, last year he was playing like a top 50 guy. So I would say for underrated, he's very possible. Well, Shapovalov is 121 in the rankings. That's also not where he should be. But again, that's like injury. I guess the overrated part is, I mean, overranked is a little, overranked part is a little more interesting. I actually think Navona could be overranked at 60. I know it's weird for me to say that, but well, his Rio run was a little fortunate to me, despite me enjoying his game so much. But yeah, I don't know if there. Oh, Sebastian Ofner, definitely. He's 47 at the moment, but it's like he's gonna start dropping points very, very soon, and yeah, currently does not present quality of the top 50
I'm sure I was on. So
range.
we were on a stream one day, you and I, and it was pre some event. I can't even tell you which one, and I'm sure
Hmm.
you were speaking up Offner's chances in that event. I can't remember which event it was. So, but I just remember because it sticks out because he wasn't somebody who was on my radar too much, and I think you talking about him one time, raised it to me like, all right, okay, this boy's a player. And to be honest, I've only watched him in a couple of matches, and I think he's won only one of them. So I hate saying this guy's name, but I'm going to try it. Thiago Seyboth-Wild. Is that have I done that right? Um,
Good enough
yeah,
for me. I also don't think I say it right, like, but it's super tough. So I think this version is acceptable. Yeah.
I was watching the tennis channel one night and they were saying it completely different to any way I'd ever heard it described. So, but Ghost is asking, do you think he's underrated? I mean, he is a player on his day that I like watching. I can remember watching that Medvedev match. I was watching the Taylor Fritz match. He's a guy that he's just, I don't know, he's an enjoyable watch for me. I just wonder if you think, Damien, if he is underrated.
I mean, at his peak, surely, but I think he kind of, is ranked where he should at the moment because, well, the reality is that he hasn't had a consistent patch of results of late. Like, only really the Sunshine Double for him since maybe the Medvedev win has been anything special. Well, I guess after the Medvedev win, you also had the Genoa Challenger that he won. But yeah, otherwise, like, it's been a very sour patch for him, especially the beginning of the season. It's kind of like people forget now, but he was like 4-9 for the year or something like that going into the Sunshine Double. But obviously, he looked like much more like the part in the Sunshine Double. So yeah, I mean, I think that his peak game is underrated for sure. But as a whole, like looking at the 52 weeks that he's had, I think he's kind of ranked where he
He should be.
deserves to be. But it's likely for him that he can actually, stick around because he has some points dropping, of course, until like May. But after that, he really has a lot to gain. So as long as he can deliver that sort of level in hard courts, like he actually is one of the stories of Indian Wells Miami to me. Yeah, just qualifying at both events, beating Fritz, playing some ridiculous matches, getting to the third round twice. Just only that one throwaway performance against Marozhan, but otherwise he really was one of the best players at both events, and not only in Indian Wells, where it felt like the conditions suit him so much. And I think I touched on it as well in one of the streams because maybe I was doing a watch along for some one of them, maybe maybe I think against Fritz, and I basically just said that there was never any reason for him to be a clay court specialist, really. So yeah, it's nice to see him finally developing a hard court game indeed.
Yeah, nice, nice way to put it. Now just onto the court stuff. So we're still with Serve. Not too much happening. Although did we miss something, or was this highlights of another match? I saw Zverev put his finger to his ear, and address the crowd, shall we say, with his arm up. Was that? I don't know if I missed a major point because it wasn't a break of serve or anything. Did you see that at all, Damien?
No, I don't know.
No, right, okay. One interesting stat what that I found is that Dimitrov, not only is he trying to, and you may have seen this as well, but people watching and listening may not know this, is that Dimitrov, not only is he trying to overturn a 7-match losing streak against Zverev, almost 10 years, but he's actually trying to break a streak of 260 weeks since he last was in the top 10. Of course, him returning to the top 10, if he was to win this match, it would take him to number 9, and it would be the return of the one-handed backhand that has been spoken about so much since Stefanos Tsitsipas left it, I think, last month, left the top 10. So, yeah, last time Dimitrov was in it, November 2018, former world number 3, and it's actually going to be the third longest gap between top 10 stays. So you had Gilles Simon, which was 308 weeks between October 2009 and September 2015. You had Albert Costa, 264 weeks, and that was the 19th of May 97 to the 10th of June 2002. And third is Gael Monfils, 252 weeks, 14th of November 2011 to the 12th of September 2016. And that's the spot that Grigor Dimitrov would occupy if he was to win this match.
So who was the first? Sorry, again?
Gilles Simon.
Gilles Simon, okay.
Yeah, 308 weeks. So that's the longest gaps between top 10 stays in the ATP ranking since 1973. So yeah, Simon, Costa, Monfils, Stan Wawrinka is in 4th. Cilic and Philippoussis tie 5th. And this is just, from end to end, from when they left the top 10 to when they managed to get back into the top 10.
Yeah, so that's interesting. It's quite interesting. Albert Costa, I think, is at June 10th, 2002, right? So it would have been the Roland Garros title that got him back into the top 10.
Yeah, good spot. Yeah, because the second week. Yeah, good shout. Second week of June. And back then, yeah, it would have been, because back then would it not have been the first week of June as the end of Wimbledon? Because Wimbledon, I'm telling lies. It used to be the last week of June, start the first week of July. That was what it was. Anyway, scratch what I'm saying. So where we are, okay. So we're still at 4-all, as you can see, 4-all, 3 game points for Dimitrov. Holding his own. I know that he suffered some, heavy set losses, 6-1, 6-1 at the US Open, as we talked about earlier on. It's 5-4, and the pressure is now on Zverev as they sit down. They're fairly racing through this match. It's 37 matches, 9 games, 37 matches, 37 minutes, 9 games played. It's nighttime now under the lights at the Hard Rock Stadium. Can any of these guys, Damien, no matter who the winner is, what are their chances against, in form Jannik Sinner, who has only lost 1 match on tour this year?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too confident in either. Zverev beat Sinner recently, US Open, but it feels like Jannik jumped, shifted even up 2 more gears after New York in Asia, after puking against Grigor Dimitrov, interestingly, on the court. So, yeah, I mean, Zverev at least has that win, whereas Sinner Dimitrov, I don't know if I would trust Dimitrov to deliver. It was kind of similar in Paris when he made that final after such a long while. And he gets Novak in the final. He gets Novak, who was playing 9 hours over the past 3 days. And yeah, he just is so flat in the final. And I would be afraid of that happening again if it was Grigor. I think Zverev guarantees a better match, or at least, it will be a decent match. Dimitrov, it doesn't have to be. But yeah, I mean, Sinner at this stage will be an overwhelming favorite in the final. I actually thought he was maybe a little bit too much of a favorite against Daniel today, but how it played out, yeah, that take maybe hasn't aged that well.
Absolutely. Couple of guys, if you want to address it, are talking about the Ultimate Tennis Showdown, and you not being a fan, Damien. But I'll just talk us through. I've not talked. I'm conscious. I'm not actually, taking us through any points, and there may be some people watching and listening, desperate to actually find out what's going on in court. We're having some good chat about tennis, but yeah, we are focused on the actual in-play match. So Zverev is 7 right now. He's 15 love. So I'll just kind of quickly take us through this point, and then if you want to address the UTS stuff, then you can. um,
Why not?
so first serve out wide, block return by Dimitrov. 30 love. Servers are on top right now. The last few games have been a server's paradise. Yeah, so Kian and Ghost are fans of the UTS. I think it's coming to New York very soon is the next one. I might be wrong. Has it been in Oslo, London, Seoul, Boston, Berlin? Have I got them one right? I don't know. Somebody will correct me, but I think I'm not far. Or maybe I'm talking about Labour Cup, but I'm sure one was in Boston. Where else have they been?
Oslo was definitely UTS. Boston, I think, was Laver Cup, but maybe also UTS. I don't know.
The first one was. Have they had one in LA?
LA, yeah, I wanted to say
They've
LA,
had one
yeah.
in LA. The Devil had one in Seoul, or yeah, the Devil had one there.
There probably was one in Nice, right? In the
And there
Muratoglou
was one in
Academy.
London, definitely in London. There was definitely one in London. So the next stop is New York. Yeah, I've never really committed too much time to watching it. I think if I was flicking the channels and it was on my on whatever channel I landed on, I would watch it. I mean, I've got to admit, the social media is pretty good in terms of like I watch the social media clips they maybe do on Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, talk to Kian and talk to Ghost. What's going on with the UTS?
I mean, I just don't care for exhibitions, you know. I
Hmm.
I can't get invested, or I can't get that invested in tennis with no stakes, because literally there's no stakes there. Like, the players, of course, they all get money, but they kind of get it for showing up. And even if they would be getting money, and maybe they are actually for winning it, probably they are. I kind of don't care, you know, if because they also wouldn't. Like, I don't know if it's Gael Monfils playing against Holger Rune. Like, they're both multimillionaires. It really doesn't matter for them if they win the title there or not, or something like that. I don't really give a flying,
Yeah, the
about this,
proverbial.
because yeah, I can say proverbial like John Silk, sure. But yeah, when it comes to that UTS thing, I just think if there was nothing to watch the entire week, and there was UTS, I probably would see it. But there's just way too much tennis that actually has stakes, and way too much tennis I actually find much easier to care about. Like, I just don't really feel like wasting my time on this when there's a lot of professional events going on. By the way, at 30 all here, we seem to be
30,
in a
well,
pretty
30,
interesting
40 then, I think.
situation.
We have a
Yeah.
set point. So I'll talk us through this set point then, and then I'll come back to that because I've got a couple of opinions of just on the back of what you've said in terms of what I'm not a big fan of. But anyway, let's go through this because there's a big moment in the match. Dimitrov has a set point. It was a second serve from Zverev returned by Dimitrov, and the +1 was put into the net.
Yeah, that's such a random streak of points from Zverev too. Like, he was 30 love up in this game and just, I don't know, just throws a
Second
few
serve.
shots away. Yeah.
We're on a second serve. This could be, it's one of those moments that if it isn't taken, could he rue it? So, second serve, 30-40, Dimitrov, and shot
This can
down
really
the
go
middle.
many ways with
Pretty
Zverev as
short.
well.
Dimitrov looked as if it was going to go long. Zverev has put it into the net, and it is the first set to Grigor Dimitrov. And Serena Williams in shot, applauding Dimitrov. The shot is off his box, and Zverev does not look happy. So yeah, absolute collapse. He was 30 love up in that one, and 4
Yeah,
points in a
that's an
row for
unreal way
Dimitrov.
to lose it, really. Like, sure, I mean, Grigor, of course, he had some tough moments earlier. He had to save that breakpoint at 2-all, so it is a bit of a reward for perseverance, if you may. He did have to win a great point here, I guess, at 15-30, right? That was the one where he went to the net and like got this volley, and he was kind of with his back to the court even. But after that, I mean, he just gets three completely random errors from Zverev. Well, maybe not fully random, because at least one of them was like, lured with a slice. But then, especially the last two, yeah, 30
Yeah.
all. Again, it's a slice, but it's not a slice that is particularly like much on it. It's another backhand error hitting through a slice, and the last shot. I mean, yeah, it just clearly shows you that Zverev was so tight here.
Yeah, I mean, I think still, I'm still probably going to lean into the camp that this is going to 3 sets, but yay for Team Grigor. Onto the UTS. Yeah, I think like you say, when there's no competition, there's no competitiveness in the sense of there is no end goal for the event. I find it hard to get on board with, like, for any sport. I'm a big football fan as well as a tennis fan. The past week has been, like, international friendlies, as we call it, in that sport. And it's, even as a big Scotland fan who goes home and away with the national team, it's been hard to kind of get on board and go, yeah, I really want to go to this match because it's just a friendly. It doesn't mean anything. I also think the people that the UTS pick purposely are people who are, within the sport, they flaunt the rules. Like, you've got, I quite like Ben Pair, but in terms of, like, he sometimes tanks matches, doesn't care, gets booed by crowds, quite bratish behaviour sometimes. Bublik has been known to have the same. And the way that they're building up Nick Kyrgios, it's just going to give him a platform to, act however he wants and think that, he can just do what he wants because they're saying that they'll probably say to him, do whatever you want. There is no rules here. Go and do what you want. And he will absolutely grab that with both hands. And I don't think he's been involved previously. And the fact that they're calling him the King of New York and whatnot, it's just a little bit off-putting to me because, I love tennis. I love the kind of, some of the rules and regulations are maybe a bit old school stuffy. But at the same time, this just seems like it's just a platform to say, go and do what you want, act how you want. I mean, look at Holger Rune. He's totally disrespectful to the two presenter commentators who are trying to do their job.
But Monfils got defaulted, right?
Of course, because he was fighting or something happened in the changing room. You had Rublev, remember, like these guys are like tuned to the moon, as we would say in Scotland, right? So that they're high pressure, high intensity characters anyway. Like Rublev, we all know what his on court antics are like. He recently got in trouble for it. At one of the UTS events, he's like standing up on the umpire's chair and screaming in his face because he's been given the platform to do that. He's been told, you can do what you want because this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make tennis this like kind of bad boy entertainment, screw the old rules. This is the new form of tennis kind of thing. Rublev, I was about to say Rublev would never do that in an actual ATP match, but he almost came close to, very similar actions, and look what happened to him. But, I just think it's given these players who want to act like the kind of the joker of the pack, like it gives them a platform to just say, you've got license to do whatever you want, and I just doesn't interest me.
Okay.
And Ghost is rolling his eyes.
That it's a very different sort of way of approaching it completely. Like we both don't watch it for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
But, it's fair. I don't really like dislike the competition or something. I just can't be bothered when there's so much professional tennis. But I respect. It's not for me. And they are kind of encouraged to act like this. You're actually pretty right because that's what the people want. Like that's how they're invited, right? It's perhaps similar to the Laver Cup in a way when there was that discussion between Monfils and Auger-Aliassime, where Gael was like basically just doing his show, spending a lot of time between the points. And Felix is like, what is he doing? This is a serious competition. I thought it was a serious competition. And Gael tells him, I'm ranked 100, whatever. Like, do you really think I was invited here because of tennis? No, I was invited to perform my show. I'll just rattle off quickly the 2-3 things here. Keen saying that Kozlov is hugely underrated. Fully agree at 600. I can't really get on board with Calvin Emery though. Like 219, I checked. It's perfect for him. Like we're still talking about a guy who has 5 good performances a year. So, and Ghosty was also talking about Ugo Humbert. I can't really think that you could make Ugo Humbert an overrated example at the moment. I mean, how did he get 202,420 points? 500 for Dubai, 250 for Metz, 250 for Marseille, 350 for the 200 175s he's won. I mean, he's definitely deserving of that top 20 ranking at the moment.
Yeah. Just having a look at the events on the court. Dimitrov had pulled Zverev in already at No, he wasn't level 15, but he'd pulled him into the net. It was the court was the ball was begging to be hit with Zverev in a bit of no man's land. It hit a net cord and went out. So a little bit unlucky for Dimitrov, trying to kind of make early moves in this set to consolidate this first set win. That looked out from Zverev, but he puts away a volley. It clearly wasn't out. So he's 30 love up now in this one. So yeah, I mean, I was going to say, guys, anyone here, there's plenty of you guys in here tonight, and so thank you for staying with us at this late hour, no matter where you are, or it could be quite early, depending where you are in the world. But yeah, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow, whatever, however you follow Talking Tennis. Just make sure you you make sure you follow. I'm reading Ghost is off. Best of luck. I'm going to go. Ghost's away. I think we've hurt his feelings because we don't watch the UTS. So, yeah, you never know. I might watch one day. Okay, where are we now then in terms of this match? So we've got 1-1. Are we? Zverev looking a wee bit kind of frustrated, obviously losing that set at that one. Where are you going next then? In your Challenger tours, then, Damien, what's on the cards for the summer?
I am actually going to Estoril tomorrow with John.
Yes, okay, lovely. Did you go last year with John? No.
I haven't been at an ATP main tour event maybe since 2020. So it's been a while. But John convinced me to go for this one. But yeah, after that, I will be trying some challengers for sure. I'm thinking maybe of returning to Ostrava, which I already visited in 2022. That would be at the end of April. Then there's also the 175s, right, in the second week of Madrid and Rome. And last year I went to Cagliari, so this time I would like to try one of the French ones. I don't know yet if Bordeaux or Aix-en-Provence. After that, in June, there's definitely going to be Surbiton and Poznań. And after that, I'm not really sure yet because the calendar isn't out yet. But that's kind of the idea for the next few months.
Nice. Okay, so I just double checking a couple of things. Yeah, so okay, I'll talk us through this point here. Sorry, I was just going through a couple of messages. So yes, I think Ghost is off because we're not watching the UTS. What else have we got there?
That was a bit of a funky return from Zverev. He was just like fully standing on his legs, like no knee bend whatsoever. But he still got it in play, and he actually won the point.
And he's won the point. So is this Zverev making a move? 15-30.
I wasn't sure what to think of that forehand slice return. Just kind of.
I'd like to see it again. I missed it actually, so I'd like to see it again.
Sure. I mean, he wins the point. After that, he was obviously back to hitting as normal.
Right, Dimitrov, and he's maybe from the third or fourth service game that he had when he was taking the juice a couple of times, probably in his most tense moment on serve. I think is probably the best one to do that. He's on second serve now as well. He serves just down into the middle of the service box. Backhand by Zverev, forehand by Dimitrov, up the line, forehand by Zverev. Dimitrov returns the favour and this time goes forehand down the other line. It's a great backhand by Zverev. It's brought into the net. It's still going. What a point of the match so far. It's a drop shot by Dimitrov and it flapped by Zverev. The crowd applaud that one. Could have been won 3 or 4 times by either player, but Dimitrov manages to make sure he wasn't facing break points there. Point of the match for you, Damien, that one?
Yeah, for sure. Lots of back and forth. The lob that Zverev played was pretty tough, so Dimitrov doesn't get a clean hit on the smash. Actually, some pretty good inventiveness as well.
Really good drop shot,
drop shot, yeah.
I like that because it just trickled over the line, and Zverev he's a big lad, but he couldn't get down for it in time.
And it's massive for the game because at 15:30 that was so.
My stream's just disappeared a bit. because it's telling me I need to log in, and I'm already logged in.
It's a ninth ace for Dimitrov as he goes 30-30
Did he win
here.
that one? Lovely, lovely. Thank you, Grigor.
And well, he clinched the game. Oh, actually, a bit of a wild +1 forehand. He just got a shorter ball from Zverev, but wasn't able to capitalize on it.
So we're at deuce, are we? Yeah.
Yeah. We are.
Sorry, I just lost my stream temporarily. You are on it. Oh, right. So I can't log in for some reason for the next 5 minutes. Something to do with a reality check on my account. I've never heard of this. So you will need for 5 minutes. I'm allowed to check in at 11 minutes past midnight, which is in 4 minutes time. So I don't have any stream right now. In fact,
Okay.
no. So yeah, if you could just talk us through whatever's going on, we'll keep on talking tennis while I try and sort this out. Have you been watching any of the WTA at all, Damien? I've actually totally missed the semi-finals of tomorrow or today. Are they? Are the semi-finals been, like I say? I've been out all day, so I've missed all the action.
Semifinals have already been played.
Right.
Tomorrow there'll be the final. Dimitrov, in the meantime, by the way, claims that game. So
Okay.
2-1 after all. We'll not be remembering this game as like a break point or anything, but just sort of if we want to go deeper, 15-30 point key here, quite crucial and probably the
Of
best rally
course.
so far. But yeah, you've got the final of the Miami Open tomorrow. I think it's actually going to be during my flight, so I don't think I will watch it. However, you've got Elena Rybakina and Daniel Collins, of course. Rybakina kind of having, like, if we take out the Australian Open, which of course is the most important event, so you can't really do that. But like if we did somehow take out the Australian Open, Rybakina would be having like a perfect season thus far. So it's really been, she's really been like just as good as Iga Świątek for the most part, and of course Sabalenka won the biggest title, Australian Open, so it's still like the top three is still very strong. And Daniel Collins, who it would be such a ridiculous achievement for her in her last season on tour to pick up that premier WTA 1000 title. We'll see if she can do it. I mean, so far this week she's been unplayable, and Ghosty should return right now because he is a big Daniel Collins fan. But
I'm sure he'll be floating about somewhere. It's the end of the year, right? That she's planning on retiring at the end of the season.
Pretty much. I don't think she's given it a date, but I'm assuming that is the case. Maybe she can play the WTA finals or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
And
I
her
mean, it'd
game
be a
has
great title for
definitely, she's raised her game since announcing this. I don't know if that has a lot to do in regards to, like, if that has a lot to do with simply just playing pressure free. But if she was to win tomorrow in Miami, she would be 7th in the WTA race.
Nice. I mean, I've been so busy this week that I've actually totally missed when Iga Świątek got put out. So that must have been Tuesday or Wednesday. So I've
It was the 4th round, so I guess that must have been maybe even earlier because no, maybe Tuesday, something like that. I don't know. These 2-week masters are so confusing because neither has like the same schedule as the others. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I saw somebody put you might have it might have been yourself put it up on Twitter, and it was like that schedule of all the masters. I think the agreement, like Indian Wales, was the best kind of the way that they'd scheduled it. And it was something because it was something like the last 4 days of the ladies' draw. There was only like 4 matches or something like that for Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Miami basically starts a day earlier for the women's, which kind of leads to this moment that at some point you've got, for example, 2 women's quarterfinals on one day, and on the same day you have 8 round 4 matches on the men's, and it's just very confusing because you don't know which round it is. But that system used to be in place in Miami, for years, or at least a combination of this, but like they always started, I think, the women's draw a day earlier, which is a choice. I mean, I don't necessarily hate it, but after Indian Wells, I think it just really saw that it was much cleaner and much easier to understand what was happening when it was the other way around. And I also dislike the finals being on different days. Like, it's just wasting time. It's obviously it is for a reason. Like, they just want to sell more tickets.
Yeah.
And that's that reason, really. But it's just wasting time to me if you have the women's final on Saturday and the men's final on Sunday. Of course, maybe at the slams it's very different. I actually like it at the slams that sort of these matches get that sort of spotlight, and there's all the focus is on them, right? But I don't know if we can really pull it off also at least 5 or 6 8,000 events a year too. Like that just seems too much to me.
Yeah. I'm just actually, while you were explaining that, I was looking at the potential, the final, the potential final matchup kind of thing that they do. And I don't know, Zverev had such a good record against Sinner, 4-1. Like, he beat him at the US Open last year, of course. I remember that. But I can't believe that Sinner beat Zverev in 2020. Well, obviously the 2020 Roland Garros would have been a lot later in the year, but it beat him in 4. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, that was Yannick making like a quarter final maybe that year.
Well, yeah, he must have, because that was the round of 16. So, and then Zverev was one
pretty big one for him. That for him definitely at that stage. I think maybe he lost to Rafa later. And yeah, at the time obviously it was a major run for Yannick already.
Okay,
I think he also beat Tsitsipas earlier in Rome, so that late clay swing was very solid for him.
Yeah, and then what age would he have been? 2020. So what's he now? 22. So he'd have been 18.
In 2020, yeah, I guess 18 or 19. Probably already turned 19. Probably already turned 19. Yeah.
Okay, Dimitrov is serving again. As you can see, Zverev has leveled up the second set. So Dimitrov will be hoping for a far more comfortable service game here. He was 15-30 down, and then managed to put away what could arguably be described as the point of the match. So the players are rallying at the moment. It's a forehand battle. Good inside out by Dimitrov. Did he put away the volley? Oh, going to be close, but he's.
No, definitely in.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let's see this. It's obviously in because he's fist pumping, but I just thought it was very close. Oh no, you're right. I think because I'm watching on my phone, it's so I just can't see it. Anyway, so yeah, he's won 8 of 11 net points so far. The television tells me. Okay, so the players rally again, another forehand battle. Dimitrov picking his moment. He's come into the net, but Zverev was surely going to go down the line. And Dimitrov, he wins the point. What a point. What a guy. Gotta love him. Really good.
Yeah,
like that one,
kinda into the open court, kinda on the stretch. Like I mean, he had to.
It's a good volley.
Yeah, he had to win it really, but like still, it is. It looks good. It definitely looks very.
One of those ones that you'll see on Twitter later, isn't it?
Yeah, you probably will. Yes.
Playing
the first
well, though.
volley was probably way tougher, but it's the last one that kind of really, because of the dynamic aspect of it.
He was definitely doing a serve volley there. He started sprinting towards the net. I wish one of us had watched this match. So I'll ask our lovely followers or watchers then. Both Damien and I managed to miss last night's destruction of Carlos Alcaraz. So I wondered, Tennis World or Tennis Chatters, is this performance up there with the Alcaraz win, or can you not top that win last night? The performance level, I mean. So yeah, let us know what you think, Jane, or if Ghost is still around, or Cian, Jake, if you're still kicking about. Let us know. Serve volley coming up here with Dimitrov, puts it away 40-15.
Yeah, it's like this game, Dimitrov is suddenly fully committed to getting to the net.
He just starts sprinting. It's weird. It's like he was
he's 40-50 now.
Yeah, fair enough. But He's just the ball had hardly left his racket from the serve, and he was already like running up at full pace towards the net. And you just sometimes don't see that because obviously great returners can just pick them off. I was going to ask you then, so how is it you're getting to to Estoril then? You flying, train? How are you doing it?
Flying.
Fly.
There's no other option really. Like it would be a ridiculous journey.
Was it? How? Oh, right, okay, fair enough. So where are you flying into? Madeira
To Lisbon.
to Lisbon, right? Okay, nice, nice. Never been. Well, I've been to Portugal, but I was a young pup, so I can't remember it. But I've never been in my more recently. So
No, I mean for me it's gonna be the first time. So, but traveling. I mean, after all, it's pretty much all the same there. I'm not leaving the European Union, so I won't have to worry about like I don't know internet on my phone or whatever really, or passport or whatever. So, yeah, it's a pretty easy travel assignment, let's say.
and
I will.
what time is your flight?
Oh, it's like 8 p.m.
All right, plenty
It's
of
it's
time
a,
then.
it's a pretty late one, yeah. I will have to spend one night in Lisbon and then get to the courts in the morning where I will meet John at some point. I'm not sure if he's gonna
And
be there for
you guys are
free.
there for the whole week.
Yeah. I'm leaving on Monday after the final. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. What have you got? Like a hotel, Airbnb? What's the
Yeah.
accommodation look like?
I'm gonna have to spend 2 nights. Well, one before the flight and one after the flight, uh, near the airport in Lisbon. But other than that, we're gonna be living with John in some Airbnb. Yeah.
That'll be fun. I'm very jealous. Dimitrov 3-2 against Zverev. He been similar second set to the first. Both players. I'm just wondering the break points. There hasn't been a ton of them, has there? I'm going to. Do you know how many there's been?
Hmm?
Do you know how many break points we've had? Because I don't remember there being
Breakpoints.
like a ton of them.
I mean, only one really, probably, or was it two in that game? I think maybe it was two in that 2-all game, but it's only that one game in the first, right? No, actually, it was just one, yeah. So Dimitrov converted his only because, of course, Zverev shanked that forehand, and it flew as high as it could really. But the first breakpoint for Zverev was a 2-all, yeah, and that was the only one. So I shouldn't have said the first really. Simon is in the chat with some prediction for Monte Carlo. Very interesting set of players you mentioned here. Felix Auger-Aliassime beast mode comeback. That kind of seems to me like you might be a Felix fan or something, because I don't know if he really gets to be the sort of deserves to be in the conversation right now. But other than that, of course, just joking. It's unlikely for sure. But I would say that for me, going into the clay swing, Alcaraz is still like the number one guy, probably. I mean, he did show that he can beat Sinner on a slower court. When he had so much space and time, as in Indian Wells, he still showed that he actually can adjust and can sort of get himself into the match tactically as well. And that's not only the Sinner match in Indian Wells. So I think he kind of gave himself, along with the fact that Yannick is kind of yet to prove himself on clay, despite having
Mhm.
some very good achievements. Because of course he won Umag beating Alcaraz a couple of years ago. He made the Roland Garros quarters. He made the semis in Monte Carlo last year. So obviously Sinner is in the conversation too. But I would still say that Alcaraz is probably the favorite. He hasn't actually done well in Indian Wells ever, really. But you probably gotta no, sorry, Indian Wells, did I say? I want to say Monte
yeah,
Carlo, of course.
yeah.
He
So
hasn't he
we
hasn't
knew what
done
you meant. We knew what you meant.
yeah, he hasn't done well at Monte Carlo actually somehow. But I think that might be a bit of a more of a question of like, I don't know, opportunity and yeah, just the circumstances not really getting going for him. I don't know. I do think that Sinner was excellent at the venue last year. Almost beat Rune in the semis. It required a very
I
tough
remember
comeback
that
from
match.
Holger.
I
So
remember that.
yeah, I mean they're gonna be the main favorites regardless. And I think Alcaraz for me is still ahead based on how he played in Indian Wells, which is kind of like the most clayish hardcourt.
Now, I noticed there, Damon, you did not mention the name Novak Djokovic. Surely others will have spotted that. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I thought at some point during my speech, then maybe when I was saying that Alcaraz and Sinner will be the main guys, like, what about Djokovic? And truth be told, I'm just not sure what about Djokovic. Like, yeah, I just have no idea. The last few years, he's been worse on clay than on hard courts for sure. And I don't know, maybe I just expect him to peak later in the clay swing rather than in Monte Carlo right away. But of course, it's also a very different situation now because usually going into Monte Carlo, although actually no, in recent years when he wasn't able to play the Sunshine Double, so actually going into the clay swing, he was kind of like, yeah, starting pretty slowly. I don't know if this is going to repeat itself. Seems to me that he would be like the third favorite for Monte Carlo right now.
Wow. Okay. Just going to pick up on the on-court stuff. Dimitrov has just won the last 2 points. First one was from a lovely drop shot that with Zverev sitting way back, and then the next one was on the back of Zverev going into the net. Zverev has just won the next point at 30, but there's a little bit of danger that that Zverev, the German, was facing being a set and potentially a breakdown if Dimitrov had managed to get that break point. Now, I realise when I'm saying that there's a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda there, but it's just these kind of things that I think about sometimes. How many break points did you say Zverev has had in this match? Because if there's only been one from
Yeah, there's been
Dimitrov,
one.
that's it.
One for Dimitrov, one for Zverev.
Oh, one for Zverev, right? Okay, yeah, right.
2-all in the first set.
Right, 40-30, Alexander Zverev, and we're at the 1 minute, 1 hour 11 minutes now. So this match is officially about to go over the Yannick Sinner Medvedev match. So
Yeah.
we have lasted longer, and Zverev has wrapped that game up. So we go on. It's very
again,
tight.
the bar wasn't that high, that tough to clear, but we are over. Yes.
Just going to look where else we got. So you're going with Alcaraz for Monte Carlo. I won't ask you every event that's coming up because that would just be, I don't know, unless you want to talk about every event that's coming up. I suppose that's no real point because we don't ever know that far ahead in tennis.
Also, Carlos has only played Monte Carlo once, actually. I just remember the Corda match and, the early exit. So...
that wasn't last year?
No, 2022.
So why did he play last year?
No.
Why didn't he? Was he just? Oh, did he not? He'd won.
I think after Indian Wells Miami, he kind of had
took a break.
something and withdrew. I mean, Monte Carlo is definitely a weird spot. It's just so close to Miami, and so the players that are going deep in Miami will often not go deep in Monte Carlo because it's just kind of not manageable. It's weird, but actually Monte Carlo, I think the ATP might have inadvertently upped the status of Monte Carlo these days. And let me tell you why. Because Monte Carlo has always been like this. Well, has always. Since the reform, Monte Carlo has been like this 1000 that, isn't mandatory, right? The only one. They kind of don't care about it in a way. Like they just wanted to that event to stay because of the tradition it has. But they clearly showed that it's the least important of the thousands. However, now it's also one of just two who are running, or at least from next year will be running on a 1 week schedule. And I think that's what most people actually prefer, that sort of condensed action. So in a way, I think they will help out Monte Carlo with this.
Do you know the intricacies as to why? Is that the bosses of Monte Carlo basically holding firm, standing their ground and saying, we are not going to move this? Is it because, I don't know how Monte Carlo works, but, is it maybe that they can't accommodate for some whatever reason a 2 week event? Like, why is it that Monte Carlo are refusing to kind of bend to this new kind of way of doing things?
I doubt they were even asked. Like, I don't know, Monte Carlo and Paris are staying 1 week events. It would be very hard to make them 2 weeks. I don't know if the ATP is even trying to have all the Masters for 2 weeks. Like, I don't know. I don't think it makes sense calendar-wise. I doubt this was really ever a point of discussion,
All right,
but I don't know. Maybe I'm just guessing. And that's kind of what I would say.
Well, Dimitrov is just double faulted with 3 game points, so he reloads to try and take this 4-3, which just before the changeover. Serves out wide. Good return by Zverev. And now we're talking, a bit of danger maybe. 3 game points. A miss hit +1, and we're looking at 40-30 from a relatively comfortable service hold on the cards there. Maybe Dimitrov's mind was already on the Zverev return game, but yeah, we'll see what happens here. And he puts away. He doesn't put away a volley. There we go.
Oh yeah, I was also just giving this point to Grigor already.
He done everything right. He has been outlasting Zverev in a lot of the longer rallies. Jimmy Delgado applauding him and telling him to try to G him up a little bit here. 3 game points come and go. The unforced error count slowly creeping up for the Bulgarian.
Yeah, Zverev with just 2 in the second set as well. But I guess out of the 11 in the opener, it was also a lot of points that Zverev missed shots on at the end of the opening set. So Grigor is probably going to be hoping for something like that again to I don't know, just keep holding and maybe Zverev will crack once more. But that was a pretty awesome forehand though.
Yeah.
I know it's just a +1 shot, but it does show you a lot of bravery that after losing the last 3 points, he still went after it like this. It shows you he trusts his game at the moment. Yeah.
And he takes the game, serves strongly down the tee. Zverev got a racket to it, but could not put it back into the court. So on we go, 4-3, an hour and 17 on the clock. And these two really are playing a very kind of cat and mouse game. Nobody really taking the chances to even create a chance, believe it or not. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Firmly in the Grigor camp, even more so because given the late hour, and as both Damien and I hanging by a thread. So come on, Dimitrov, do it for all of us. Is that John floating about somewhere, or was that you?
Should be.
It's John. Okay. Dimitrov wins this title. The tennis will have peaked. Yes. A Dimitrov Collins double. That would be quite a fine sight. The two players have been on the tour for many years. Yeah. Right. So what else have we got going on? I'm just trying to see. I did see something that was interesting earlier on in this ATP media guide. I thought it was quite an interesting stat. Oh, right. So, most ATP Masters 1000 finals since the series began in 1990. Medvedev was, he is in tied 8th place. He was going for his 11th because he's on 10 at the moment. And Zverev is actually also going to try and tie with Boris Becker. That was what interested me there. So Boris, the rundown, as I'm sure you've looked at many times, Damien. Master 1000 final since 1990. Djokovic with 58, Nadal 53, Federer 50. I mean, they're way ahead of the guy in fourth. Number 4 is Andre Agassi with 22, Andy Murray with 21, Sampras 19, Becker 11, and then you've got Gustavo Kuerten, Medvedev, Thomas Muster, and Zverev all on 10. And Zverev or Medvedev today had the chance to jump into tied 7th with Boris Becker. And both men might miss out on that chance given the way things are going. So we'll wait and see. Even Esther will have to take a bow. Are you prepared to live with John Silk in an Airbnb or hotel room for the next week? Do you know what you've got yourself in for?
I've lived with John for a week last year, so
okay.
And
you're returning to do it again?
It wasn't away somewhere, so I think I might be in for some surprises. But when we were staying with at John's with Mario as well, yeah, I mean he was on his best behavior. So
what a guy! 15 love, 30 love. God, my eyes are
sort
crusty
of on
over.
his best behavior. I mean,
Sort of his best.
he did go out to the pub like 3 times that week, but otherwise,
I'm sure he had a great time in Rio. I'm sure I was getting all I will say is I was getting voice notes one night. I woke up to some early morning voice notes when he was one night at a street carnival in Rio. And I won't say any more than that, but I'm sure a couple of beverages had been had. So 30 love to Zverev. Are we going to get a similar set to the last one? The first set point that was taken by Dimitrov. But they can't really separate these two guys at all here. And so and he wins it. So 4-all. On we go. So who's that, Estrolik? Let me have a look at the entry list for next week. Is it pretty strong?
it's okay. I mean, I've got Hurkacz and Rud as the top 10 players. After that, there's a pretty sizable gap. But yeah, all in all, I think there's a lot to like. The wildcards as well. I mean, Henrique Rocha just won his first challenger title in Murcia. There's also obviously João Fonseca. That's, I'm so excited to watch him live. And also you've got João Sousa, who's wrapping up his career. I'm sure that, Nuno Borges should have his chances as well to like kind of, bring the atmosphere up. You've got Dominic Thiem, who's going to be returning after that wrist inflammation that he had recently, apparently, and trying to make something work. I mean, I don't really expect that much from him, but we'll see. We are both missing the qualifying round 1 tomorrow, both me and John. But honestly, the qualifying draw kind of fell apart. So I think we will sort of enjoy what we can see of it on Sunday. And the matches tomorrow actually aren't that amazing, so it's perfectly fine to miss them.
Okay, so we've got a bit of danger on the Dimitrov serve. It was a wayward forehand. Zverev was putting a lot of pressure on the rally, and it was Dimitrov who blinked first. So second serve now, backhand return by Zverev. Good strong forehand by Dimitrov. The ball still in court. Backhand slice by Zverev, and Dimitrov puts away the volley. He really took control of that rally there, dictating the points. And well played, Grigor.
Yeah, make sure that what happened to him, like the what was the point? 40-30 last service game doesn't happen again.
Yeah. And he serves out wide, doesn't get an ace, doesn't really put away that backhand forehand. He's all over the shop here, but Zverev struggling to get to it. He's got it back in court. It's went out. Jesus. Well done, Alexander Zverev. Didn't time the backhand at all, despite a really good serve, and it allowed Zverev to crawl back into the rally. And well played, Alexander Zverev.
The one-hander haters would really have like a field day talking about this point, because it should have been a put away. Like, it should have been a point straight up for the Grigor after that serve was so good.
Okay, we have danger again. And has he just served in the T-ace? He has. You can
Best
see
way
me
to get out of trouble.
Yeah. Zverev doesn't believe it. I think that it landed in the service box, but of course, electronic line calling.
Actually, the best way to get out of trouble is a get out of jail free card in Monopoly, but this is the second one.
Fair enough. Do you like to keep the just for a rainy day in those type of situations? I've not played Monopoly in ages, actually.
Yeah, me neither.
Is there this may be a stupid question, but is there like the Monopoly that you would play in Poland? Does it have like Polish like street addresses, or is it like the
there is a Polish version? Yeah. I can't really tell you which one I played as a kid. I think it was like maybe one of the knockoffs. It was maybe Euro Business or something like that. So mine actually wouldn't have the
I get it with
Polish
you.
things. But yeah, Monopoly has a lot of different versions all around the world. So a Polish version is also yeah,
Okay,
exists. Yeah.
that's cool. Because it was
I
always just
think
the
when I
classical
played with my
London one.
friends like a couple of years ago, I was playing a very international one though. It was like I know there was a section that was like Toronto and Montreal and stuff, but there is a Polish version. Yeah.
Excellent. I like that. I like learning that. That's cool. That is cool. Um, okay, as you can see by the scoreboard, Grigor Dimitrov um, managed to stave off the pressure from Alexander Zverev. It's 5-4. The players are sitting down at the moment. I think Dimitrov is pulling out a new racket that'll have been timed for this particular game. I assume they've got new balls. So a chance for Dimitrov to get into the final and get into the top 10. I'm sure he'll be aware of that for the first time since November
Yeah.
2018. It might add a little bit of pressure in his own mind. But, I really like the way, again, I only watched the second set highlights just before this match. As I mentioned about an hour ago, Alcaraz had all the momentum. He'd fought back. The crowd were thinking they were going to see something special. He managed to hold serve, even though Alcaraz had put pressure on it. It got to 5-4, just as in this situation. And he managed to beat him to 15. So he will be hoping for the same as the players stroll back out onto the court. It's very, very early. I don't think Dimitrov has yet stood up, taking on a couple of bits of electrolytes. But we are approaching the 90-minute mark in this one. And Grigor Dimitrov 4 points away from a final against Yannick Sinner. Dimitrov, Sinner head-to-head. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but just in case. Sinner leads at 2-1. Only played 3 times, these guys. Okay, here we go. 4-5. First serve hits the top of the net cord, and we have a second serve to throw in here. Zverev certainly taking his time. A lot of ball bounces. He knows how big this point is. This first point, slice serve into the tee. It's clipped the net cord. It's went wide. We're at love 15. The crowd on their feet, pushing Grigor on. He's obviously the more favoured player here. Come on, Grigor. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, why not? James always goes for Cam Norrie and Cam Norrie streams. Fault by Zverev. Second serve again. Dimitrov needs to get on top of this one. Come on, Grigor. Takes his time again, Zverev. Goes down the tee again. Good return by Dimitrov. Puts him on top in the rally. Goes down the line with a forehand. Forehand by Zverev. Another forehand. And it's hit the net. Zverev slips a little bit. Real danger now that this match could be the perfect clutch match by Dimitrov on the return game off when the set is winnable. He has played his best tennis. The crowd are believing. They're on their feet, singing, dancing. Come on, Grigor. They'll be dancing on the streets of Sofia tonight, I believe.
I wish Grigor played that event more. It would be so good for that one, right?
Yeah, how many?
But
I mean, has he played it like quite often throughout his career? Or is it just
I think
like
only
sparingly?
once actually, and he won it in 2017. So
He had it. Yeah, he was having a good
yeah,
period at that
Jerzy
point,
Janowicz
wasn't
almost beat him in like round 2, and then he won the title. But after that, I don't think he's played it, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, maybe right now it's very understandable that there were years when I was like, really, you're missing out on a chance like this in your home country. But this also could have sort of destroyed that stat that we had, that infamous stat about Dimitrov not winning a title for 6 years, right? Because if he plays Sofia a few times in that
he wins it.
somewhere there, he probably wins it, yeah.
So a bit of a rally ball there, and Zverev won the point. I was about to say Zverev hasn't got a first serve in this game, but he just did drill one down the tee. A big shout of come on there. 30 all. Doesn't change the fact Dimitrov's still 2 points away from this match, but Zverev is hanging on in there. This will be a long ball bounce. Come on. 10 seconds at least. Ball is in play. Dimitrov gets it back, sliced backhand by the Bulgarian. One-handed backhand Bulgarian this time, onto the forehand, but double by Zverev. Backhand again. He's putting pressure on Dimitrov. He's pushing for this match point. He's got the whole court open to him, and he hits the net.
Yeah, again, the one-hander lovers will be like, ooh.
He'd did everything right in that point. He'd got himself into the point. He'd pushed Zverev around a little bit. He'd got him where he wanted him, and probably the most doable shot of the rally, one of the most doable shots of the rally. Can't put it away. Where do we go from here? Honestly, I think I'll be sleeping if this goes to a third set. Zverev, good strong forehand, goes wide by Dimitrov, and we're at 5-all. Staves off any danger. Well done, Alexander Zverev.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 points here, they were just looking like straight up a repeat of that 10th game of the first set, right? When Zverev just falls apart when the first time some pressure is on him. But at this time, at least, he was able to keep the ball in play, and that already made a big difference. Obviously, Grigor could have made that backhand cross court. I mean, sure.
Yeah, I mean, the difference with that one is, though, from the first set, I'm sure Zverev was 30 love up, and he was cruising.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, just like the absolute brain fart for 5 minutes, and he finds himself a set down. Now, this is the time that I would be saying I think Zverev's going to break here, but I've been wrong many times before. And Dimitrov, his level hasn't dipped. Got to be honest. I mean, there's been a couple of moments, but his level has been high. Again, I believe that his strongest performance was probably last night.
Yeah, I mean, what we're watching here isn't really like that different between the players, right? It's only really been that one 3-point stretch of Zverev that led to him being down a set. But yeah, this was a real chance just a second ago. Of course, just 2 points away from the match. Now kind of has to go at it again, but seems like he will be in for a good shot at getting into that position again.
If it goes to a tiebreak, Damien, who are you favouring?
Zverev, stronger, more efficient serve. Yeah, and probably the player I still would sort of trust more, despite that first game, that 10th game of the first set. But obviously it's a tiebreak, so anyone can win it, and it's like a very slim edge.
Even Andy Murray can win tiebreak 7-love.
Oh yeah, just recently.
I mean, certainly on this service game here, Dimitrov dominating the points, from start to finish. So a game point. Now we were here last time, and he made a bit of a meal of it the next 3 points. So, and Serena Williams getting involved with the crowd and just applauding along, enjoying herself. And he serves an ace. 6-5, Grigor Dimitrov. That's how you do it. Game to love. And they sit down.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that Zverev has 10 ATP 1000 finals. Earlier on the stream for Medvedev Sinner, I think it was Nick who asked me and Kira, like, who would we prefer to see in the final, and sort of who would we think it would be more exciting if Sinner played. And my natural answer was Dimitrov, because I just said, well, it's a bigger story if he gets there, right? If he tries to win another ATP 1000, for Zverev, it's kind of nothing. Like if it was a slam, maybe I would think twice.
Yeah,
But actually, it's not nothing, right? I mean, it's been almost 2 years, so it's actually a bit of a story for Zverev as well if he
Zverev.
gets
I
to
suppose
this
aye, because
final.
he's
Yeah,
did they? Oh, he Masters one. I was going to say because he didn't win Hamburg last year.
yeah. I was talking about the
Yeah.
thousands and above, really. Um,
Tell me, I'm always really intrigued. Hello, Ashley. How you doing? Good to have you this late in the day, or maybe early for you. I can't remember where you are, Ashley. I think you're maybe
I
in the
think maybe
States.
the States,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm almost not sure. What?
I'm really interested by the Medvedev Zverev dynamic. I understand why they, certainly from the Medvedev point of view, he doesn't like Zverev. But I wanted to ask, have they faced each other in a final before? I know they can't now, but I just wondered because it was on the cards. Have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
two?
yeah. I actually looked that up earlier today because I was also interested. I knew that it hadn't happened in a while, and it actually did 3 times, but last one was the ATP Finals 2021.
Oh, all right, okay, cool.
And other were maybe Paris, and there was one more event. I'm pretty sure I can't. Oh, Shanghai. Yeah. So three big finals between one another. But yeah, obviously when they played the last year, especially, they never played in finals because, well, they likely
That's
wouldn't. Then
yeah.
you wouldn't really have an event where they're both in the final, obviously, because they didn't play in the finals. But yeah, a lot of their matches were a lot earlier and in the tournament.
Okay, Ashley's in Canada, but she's in the same time zone as
Ah,
Miami.
okay.
Um, so let me guess, it's 10 to 1 here. So what's that? 10 what are they? 4 hours
You should
behind?
have 4 hours difference. I have five, so you should have four.
Ah, right, okay.
I
Okay.
think this match started at 7 p.m. local time, so by now it would be almost 9.
Okay. So good time for you. It's 10 to 2 in the morning for Damien and 10 to 1 for me. Um the things we do for John Silk. Um so 15 all on this one. My bed is praying for Dimitrov to come through this set here, but we'll see. Especially after playing football, man. Shouldn't have done that. I should have just said no. But I wanted to. I hadn't done one in a couple of days, and I was enjoying it. I did one on Sunday night, and I really enjoyed it. Right, so 30-15 to Alexander Zverev. And the good serve. Dimitrov hits the net, and it's looking like we are going to a tie break here.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of makeable, and I guess that's been the story of this game as well. Zverev putting in pretty decent first serves, Dimitrov barely, like almost getting it over the net, but not. And yeah, we might have a tiebreak because of that.
Yeah, I mean the Zverev serve in that previous service game it pretty much disappeared the first serve, and that's why Dimitrov had managed to get himself a couple of points up to a couple of points to the good. It does seem that if the two players are rallying, the Dimitrov is winning the points more, which is something that I didn't think I would do. I'd be saying, 2 hours, nearly 2 hours into the match. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, like this error here, like he's not Zverev hasn't been fully comfortable hitting from
no,
the slice. There's a lot of aggressive play that also works for Dimitrov. Off the back of the court, starting from the back of the court and potentially moving forward. So yeah, I mean,
I mean this
probably
game
he's won
isn't
more
done yet.
points off the ground than Zverev here, or like it's probably quite similar, but
Dimitrov has a second serve here to face, and it's a very short looping one. I don't think he took advantage of that as much as he probably could have.
one
Um,
hander again, getting sort of
and an
under fire.
absolute cowboy mishit from Zverev. That was really bad. So this could still be done fairly soon. But I think Zverev down the tee serve. Is there any other way he's going? The players can't rally yet because the Miami crowd, the frivolous Miami crowd, giving it, as we say here in this part of the world, giving it yaldi.
Yeah, maybe from 40-15 we just see another crack
Serves
in
out wide,
Zverev's
so he
face
proves
in
me
game.
completely wrong. Good +1. Well played,
Ah.
Alexander Zverev. Changed it up.
Yeah. That was again 2 points away from the match.
Yep. Yeah, of course, he was love 30 in the last game.
So there's already been 4 points, which if Dimitrov wins, he has a match point. But no big chances on either, really. And indeed, it's going to be the tiebreak. Any tie breaks in the history of their matchup? I mean, definitely US Open last year.
There was in the US Open. There was 2 tie breaks in that particular match, and one was won by Dimitrov, one was won by Zverev. So let me just tell you.
Same story in Paris 2021, not the French but the Bercy one, and also Chengdu last year. Zverev won a tiebreak, so it's actually just 3-2 for Zverev. So it's less lopsided than the history of their matchup.
Yeah, I wonder if the fact that he hasn't beaten Zverev for so long, I wonder if that plays on a tennis player's mind. These little intricacies, these little facts. I wonder if that actually does. When they get near the finish line, they're like, "Oh my god, I'm going to beat this guy! I haven't done this for a decade." And then I just wonder. Zverev looks like he's won that first point he has, so he has the early mini break. One-handed backhand straight into the fun zone for Zverev, and Zverev puts it away with a double-hander down the line.
Yeah, the last couple of games points, they've been tough for the one-hander church. Dimitrov has definitely had occasions in this match where he couldn't capitalize on. Well, it was tougher for him to capitalize on something because obviously you can hit that one-hander better than he was on these points, but yeah, like he wasn't just fully comfortable with it, mostly because it is a one-hander. But well,
second serve now, we have Sasha Zverev tried to go down the tee as he does tend to enjoy from the ad side. Just got that serve in, just in no more. Looks again like a wide one, but he's went down for the backhand down the line again. Dimitrov got it back. Dimitrov goes inside out, and this time goes up the line. Plays a good rally. This cross court forehand to forehand, slice backhand by Dimitrov, pick up backhand by Zverev, forehand by Zverev this time. The one-hander comes out from Dimitrov. They're still going. A sliced backhand by Dimitrov. He's trying to end the point. And does he end the point? He does end the point. That is a really good rally by Grigor Dimitrov.
Yeah, I mean, that slice with a lot of side spin to set up the forehand winner.
That was lovely.
Barty.
Really like that.
Actually, Ash Barty wouldn't hit the last forehand like this, I think. So I kind of just have to say Grigor Dimitrov. Roger Federer, huh? I mean, I don't like the comparisons, but like that's a very Federer-ish play.
Yeah, really nice, really good. Just keep playing like that for 6 more points, please, Grigor. It's a novelty, right, Ashley? I think they're talking about the fact that they're on the same time zone as these players. Well played, Zverev. Okay, 2-1 Zverev, just a shot. It was only just picked up by Dimitrov and comfortably put away by the German.
Yeah, I'm not as desperate as you, but like if you ask me whether I want to go to bed at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., it's going to be 2 a.m. So,
do you know what it is? I don't want to get off the topic too much, but so I was playing football tonight and then I'm joining this new gym class, which is at 9:30 tomorrow morning. And it's a 20-minute drive. So I'm like, right, I'll need to get up at least 8, get something to eat, and then set off about 10 to 9 just so that I'm not late in case there's any traffic. And I'm just like, if this goes on to like 2 a.m, man. Anyway, I will, like I say, I will trip on
Yeah,
into the
me,
wee small
I
hours.
don't really need to get up too early, but I do have my trip tomorrow, and I have to leave at like I don't know 1 p.m. or something like that. I have to pack, and yeah, I'd rather for it to end in 2, but we'll see.
Well, it's looking like it's going to be ending at least 3 because Zverev is definitely looking
At
like
least 3.
yes.
Will they just randomly extend the match for the best of 5?
Okay, 3. They probably would do just to
You
punish me
scared
more.
me there. You
Yeah, I
scared me
know.
there.
It's actually a 5-setter. This. So yeah, so Zverev, Dimitrov is coming in. Zverev played it at his feet, and yeah, John, do you want to take over for myself and David? Floating about there in the background, not saying much. You knew what I meant, okay?
Yeah, of course. I have to say that actually, I know they're not gonna like change it for this much retroactively or anything, but I was thinking about this recently that like best of 5 should really make another appearance at the ATP 1000 level, because if we're having all of these 2 week masters, and a lot of the time there's actually a day of break, like they could really make I don't know quarterfinals onwards or
Yeah.
semifinals onwards best of 5. It wouldn't be the end of the world for the players, but yeah, I don't really think that they're going to be going for it, but it just feels so unnecessary to have these drawn out days at the end of these events, and
I mean,
and
do they
that
have the
basically
infrastructure
messes
for
things.
that though? Like, they seem to
No,
struggle with the schedule.
I'm just saying the last few rounds, the
Fair enough.
quarters onwards, semis
So there's
onwards,
not
that
as
would
many
be.
matches going on yet. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah, because that's when the events drag, right? Of course, early on, yeah, no, early on probably it's not possible. But I'm just saying, it just feels so unnecessary to have these days. Like even today, you've got just 2 matches on singles, but especially like yeah, tomorrow it's just the final, just the final. No one is obviously no one of these guys who made the semis here is going to be playing an event next week. I think easily the semis and the finals could be best of
I think
5.
you're right. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I wonder if
We
the
could just stick to the finals to by the way to like just keep up with the tradition, maybe leave best of 5 play for the slams, but of course we used to have best of 5 ATP 1000 finals, right? So or at least they weren't called ATP thousands back then, but like Masters series or whatever, so
yeah.
it wouldn't be like something groundbreaking either.
Yep. Well, the tennis match that we are watching at the moment has sparked into life a little bit this tiebreak. Some really good points played by both players. Dimitrov has managed to pull back one of the mini breaks, so we're at 4-2 Zverev. He
Yeah, he
really tried
made
to go
up
for
for
that.
that double fault. He made up for that double fault, but now he's still 2-5, so there's a lot
So
of
he needs
work to
these
be
next 2
done.
points really.
Yeah.
Or yeah, he tried to really go for that return there. Yes, I think it is, John. I would need to check it out. My brain's not working, but yeah, I believe so. It's Munich, Cologne, Frankfurt.
Scotland, Hungary,
Yeah, and
the
the
Euros,
Euros.
or
Yeah, yeah.
so Scotland is at the Euros as well. Okay.
Yes. Don't sound so surprised, David. Yes, we are.
I'm sorry, but is it the first time? No, I don't know. I mean,
No, we were there.
You've obviously been at the World Cup,
We've
but
been
I
there
don't remember
before.
the
I
Euro.
mean, so we were at Euro '92, Euro '96,
Okay.
and then we were at the World Cup in '98, and then we weren't anywhere to be seen until the Euros 2020, which was obviously in 2021, and then we didn't qualify for the World Cup 2 years ago, and we have qualified for this one, beating Spain on the way. By the way,
So who are you with in the group stage last time? I don't remember that. Well, maybe not the
uh,
most important figure right now. Oh, with England, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. No.
yeah, we had England, Croatia, and the Czech Republic, and
Yeah, yeah, okay. No,
it's
no, I
split
totally
into all
forgot about
three.
that. I remember the
Well,
World Cup, like Scotland, like 78 or 82 or something like that,
yeah, 78 was in
but no.
Argentina. We thought we were going to
Yeah.
win it. Okay, Zverev got a set point on his serve. put it into the net.
Phew.
Oh, double fault.
Here we go. Yeah.
One
And by
more
the way, just
chance.
to quickly end the topic, you should like me being surprised that Scotland made it to the Euros. You should be able to brush it off easily because however you made it, it was definitely more convincing than Poland.
Well, I watched.
Anyway,
I watched the penalty shootout the other night, Damien. And I
I'm glad
actually
you
was
didn't
happy
watch
that
the
you guys
match.
went through.
I'm glad you didn't watch the match.
No, I didn't watch the match. No.
It was absolutely disgusting. If, as a neutral observer, I would turn it off in a second. And let's see. And we will have to watch that third set here as
Yes.
Alexander Zverev approaches the net and Grigor can't produce any pass of his backhand. So it is 7-4. Zverev managed to contain some of the nerves that were hitting him again. Both guys with a double fault in the breaker as well. But I guess so. It was, so I guess that's not what really like gave it to Zverev, but he did play pretty well, right? The first point, especially, he hit that insane backhand. I guess got the did the right things at the right time as well. But yeah, 1 hour and 6 minutes in the second set as well. So they are really
Lovely.
like not giving us the best options in terms of our sleeping time.
It's all right. At least we know where we've got an end in sight now for sure. So we can do this, Damien. We can do this. So it's just went 2 a.m. Where Damien is, and it just went 1 a.m. where I am. So thank you.
Scotland, Hungary is in Stuttgart. I see. Scotland, Switzerland is in Cologne, by the way.
There we go. There we go. Are you going to go to the Euros?
No, I don't think so. I am not too interested in that. I actually don't know if I've watched a match like that sort of level of football ever live. I've seen a lot of local matches, but like that sort of level, like I don't know, let's say the first Polish league or something, or international. I've never watched. Or off the on the stadium, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not on TV. But I've actually seen like 3 matches from my local team in the past 12 months, which is a bit new for me.
Who's your local team?
Unia Wąbrzeźno. They're
can't even
playing
say
in
that.
the 6th league in Poland, maybe.
How many fans do you get to go to that?
Not a lot, actually, because we were making it to that 5th level, actually. We advanced to the 5th level, so there was a match for promotion. So the stadium was full. And then I also was at the first match in
The
in
new
Poland's
season.
4th league, which is the 5th level, but 4th league. And both of these matches were pretty much full. We have a great stadium as well. Like it's definitely better than most in that league too. So actually, the community does like the team a lot. The community does support it a lot. There was also a sort of a derby match between a rival we also hadn't played in ages, Sparta Brodnica. And I'm sure that a lot of people were there because I wasn't, but I'm pretty sure. I think there was also during a national holiday, so that probably
Amazing.
helped. But
Sounds
yeah,
good, mate. So when you
actually
say
well
the stadium
attended.
full, how many people is in that stadium?
About I think sort of the stands are about 600, 700. But when we had these very important matches, there's more people sort of just standing and watching as well. So I would say about 1,000 is possible. Yeah.
Right, my stream's acting a little bit funny, so I'm just going to try and close it and start again. But I believe Dimitrov is just one with a good passing winner down the line.
I mean, yeah, Zverev had his racket on it, so I
Oh,
don't know
did
if it
he?
was a
Right.
winner, but yeah, I mean, he definitely forced the error with that pass. Now really dedicated here to slicing and trying to maybe get an error from Zverev, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Gets his opening though, approaches the net, and wow, what a point! I
Oh,
want to say he gets lobbed, but no, it should be a double bounce, right?
oh,
Yeah. Nah, I mean,
What's he
there's
complaining
nothing
about?
to probably double bounce goal. I don't know. I was on mute. But, I mean, even if it was a double bounce, I mean, Dimitrov just had to put it. Even if
He
it
put it
wasn't,
away
I think,
anyway, yeah.
yeah, Dimitrov just had an easy put away.
I
Like,
mean, it's a good pickup by both players there, but let's see. Oh, I don't know.
yeah, not from this angle.
I think he's complaining about the crowd or something. Let's see.
Maybe it's possible.
Oh, no, he got it.
Mm, you're sure after this
I
replay?
think so. I think so.
I'm not.
I think he must have been called double bounce. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Dimitrov's love 30. Maybe Dimitrov's going to help us out, and
Yeah, sure.
he's going to win this third set 6-love in like 15 minutes.
It's a scenario that cannot be excluded for now. It might be excluded if Zverev just hits 4 aces now, for example.
Yeah.
He's already had one.
I'm getting delirious with tiredness. Okay, so he did say 7 ace there, as you well know. 12. Oh, Dimitrov. Dev was.
John's having a good time.
John's always having a good time. It's a 24-hour party in the Silk household. Oh, Dimitrov, put it away, man. Zverev was into the net. Dimitrov tried to go down the line. The lob was there. I don't think he had confidence in his ability to lob somebody who's 6'7", so he just tried to go down the line.
I would probably go Hungary as well, by the way, in the pressing question. There's this Polish saying, Polak Węgier dwa bratanki do szabli do szklanki, which basically represents the friendship between our countries, and that we can both drink with one another, but also we are good for the sort of the saber, for the sword, so like, to fight with one another. So
okay.
I mean, yeah, it kind of shows that there is that fighting gene. And
so what if I said we had the Irish on side? We'll get the so if you guys if Hungary gets Poland, then we'll get the Irish. So you'll have all us and all the Irish who are mad. So it'd just be like a Royal Rumble. Anyway, we are definitely tired. Right, Dimitrov is kind of letting this game slip by him now again, like you said, like you predicted. Although it's a nice, that was a nice slice backhand there. Got to give him that. He went up the line, point perfect, and we're at deuce.
Yeah, what Dimitrov can do with that slice, I mean, just in terms of the versatility, the different spin that he can put on it, even though it's kind of a shot with no spin, but you can always put side spin or backspin on. Well, backspin kind of exists on backspin, but yeah, he definitely can produce so many weird angles with it as well, and especially when he commits to it like he's been this game, it's gonna be pretty tricky to just keep hitting through that. Let's see.
Second serve. So this is a chance, as always. Zverev, as always, taking about 50 bounces of the ball. Goes down the tee, slice backhand by. Oh, he set that up for him. So short. Zverev puts it away though. Well done. Yeah, right in the corner.
Oh, and if Dimitrov returns to the top 10, then we will have a one-hander again in the top 10.
Yeah, right? That's what I was mentioning. Remember when I said about Tsitsipas leaving it in February?
Oh, when will we have a one-hander again in the WTA rankings?
I think that ship has sailed.
Is the answer never? I mean, Diane Parry will have to do something special in order to get us back there. Well, she is 51st in the live rankings now, so she might be close to being in the top 50 with a one-hander. That's already something.
What's that saying on the telly? Average ground stroke net clearance. Oh, Zverev, right. Okay, it's saying that his centimetres and net clearance from his forehand and his backhand went up.
Yeah.
And between...
Forehand actually quite a lot, yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Dimitrov serving love one down, goes wide. Good return by Zverev, and he doesn't get the back up. So 15 love. Really good 1-2 combo there. Serve out wide, put it down the other end of the court. Zverev got it, but couldn't get it over the net.
This is a really random stat that isn't really worth much, honestly. But would it be the first time in Dimitrov's career? But it's already actually secured. But like, is this the first time in Dimitrov's career he's going to be ranked as the highest? Well, he's going to be the highest ranked one-handed backhand player.
Now that's
Probably
a good
yes,
one.
right?
That's
Probably
a good one.
yes.
So when he was in
Because
it November 2018, there would obviously been obviously Federer's going to be kicking
every
about
single
there.
time, yeah.
That's a really good shout. I mean, again, does that even play in these players' minds?
No,
Yeah,
no, definitely not. This is just a fully random stat that maybe if someone
but I
tells
like
him,
it. I like
he's gonna
it.
have a laugh about it. But
I wonder if
yeah.
any of the tennis journalists that are there are. I mean, if he wins it, that is. But I've got the nuance to ask him that, or to put that
There
to him, I
could be
suppose.
something maybe not necessarily related to this, but like just to the fact that he will be in the top 10 as the only one-hander. That's been a topic that recently, we brought it up, right? Recently. So
Yeah, because obviously
I think
Tsitsipas dropping out,
they can yeah, because of that story, yeah, because
and
it
then
was the first time, yeah.
I'm sure he basically actually talked about it in one of his Indian Wells press conferences about, or maybe it was before that even. I talk about how like the feeling he gets when he hits a one-handed backhand winner to like perfection. He just gets this pure warm feeling. Anyway, a new racket again for Dimitrov. Didn't really work last time because he's kept us here for at least another half an hour. So thank you, Grigor. But yeah, good service hold there from the Bulgarian. Zverev also, I think, pulling out a new racket. Who's winning it from here then, Damon, in your eyes?
So we are already at one game all, right? This time it's Zverev serving first. Second set tiebreak was a little better for Sasha. Yeah, I mean you gotta give a small edge to Zverev.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Dimitrov trying to like maybe change the course of his career a little bit here, and we'll see if he's successful. I mean, he's already changed the course of his career in many ways, but usually in this scenario he would lose. Like that's what I'm trying to say.
You are right. That's a good way of putting it in terms of that like we've been here so many times. So surely he can get rid of these demons. Just checking my workout tomorrow. And no, it's definitely at 9:30. So it's a CrossFit. It's a new CrossFit gym. You ever heard of CrossFit at all? I've not done it in years, but I need to get back fit, Damon. I need to get back fit. Anyway, back to the tennis. Where are we? Zverev 30 love. Oh no, I'm a wee bit behind because the scoreboard has 40 love. Oh, there we go.
The scoreboard is rapid, but I think our streams are pretty fast as well, so it's not the end of the world for sure.
So he's going to take this game. Well, he's taking that game. Must be an ace coming up. Certainly is. Surely he's got to be on. And where's the ace count now? Still Dimitrov leading by 1. Surprising that. Yes, John can take over in 20 minutes. I will 100% let you take over in 20 minutes, John. I'm not even going to fight it. I'm just going to say yes. So I'm clocking. I'm now clocking. That was said at 1:15 a.m., which means 25 to. Anyway, right. So we're at 2-1. What is it? Is Zverev got diabetes or something? Isn't it? Is that what he's always doing with that wee pack?
There used to be something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he said it like a couple of years ago. Yes.
So he's got to take insulin and all that. That must be tough, in terms of, with all these the doping thing that goes about and stuff. And I'm not suggesting anyone's doping, by the way. I'm just saying it must be hard to be like, put this insulin in your body and know that you could, I don't know, something could come up in a drug test and you could be like, because I was listening to somebody. What was I listening to? Oh, I was listening to. Have you been listening to the Andy Roddick podcast at all?
No.
They were talking about the Halep stuff, and they were just talking about the life because Andy Roddick is obviously speaking firsthand about the experience of these players in terms of like having to check in all the time and having to let the doping guys know where they are all the time, and it's just he says it's quite tough. You can be beaten big match, in a final, whatnot. And now he knows better than anyone about getting beaten in finals, and then they come over and they're like, right, let's get you tested right away, kind of thing. And I suppose you've got to do that for a clean sport, but he says it can be quite tough. So yeah, I always kind of think about that when I see players injecting themselves with stuff, because could be anything in it. Then you're gubbed.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely quite brutal, and I've seen it firsthand a lot. Like a lot of the time, players are like, just Jesus, really? Do you have to do this right now? And they come up to them after a loss, right? But
I mean, I heard that there was something at like in the UK. There's like this county cup event, and there was like doping guys there. I mean, these are like, I mean, they're top players at that level, I suppose. It's not like a club event, but they were testing, and they were quite, like, I think one of the players was injured or something like that, and he basically had to come off court because he was injured, and then the testers were there and they were like, you need to do this right now. And then the person who was injured was like, can you just give me 10 minutes just while I can try sort this injury out? And they were like, no, get it done now, kind of thing. So it's quite strict.
that's kind of strict. I don't think that actually happens in tennis a lot. Like in tennis, they kind of have to follow you around, of course, after a match. They have to, like, just go with you everywhere, but they can't like also order you to do this, like, right this moment. I think they would probably wait for 10 minutes with you somewhere. I've done a lot of interviews sort of before the doping control is even done.
All right.
Sometimes the challengers, you gotta sort of rush to the player because you want to get there before the doping guys.
Wow, right, okay, that's actually really interesting. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
shout. You would
it,
never
it,
think of
it,
that as a
it's
journalist.
it's a bit of a race. It's a bit of a race sometimes between me and the doping guys. Yes.
And do you just grab them just as they're coming off court, or how do you do it?
Yeah, yeah, mostly because I tend to do, like, when I'm traveling to challengers these days, I just record interviews for the podcast, which they wouldn't. I wouldn't want to have them that long anyway, so I kind of just do, like, an on-court interview style
Yeah. Do you
thing.
do it with your phone, or have you got a mic?
No, I'm just doing with the phone. I'm satisfied with the quality generally, so I
Right.
don't.
I like
So I
that.
didn't take the mic out.
Where are we with the match? Not watched the last couple points, but 30-15. Oh, 30. Oh, I think it was a good winner by Zverev. My stream is hopping a little bit at the moment, so I missed that. But is he in a bit of trouble here, Dimitrov?
Slowly but surely, he kind of seems to be getting into more and more trouble, right?
He's definitely going flatter. He's definitely his levels definitely dropped from certainly from that first set, no doubt. Second serve out wide. I'm gonna have to reset this. Oh, and that's just flapped into the net. Is this the moment?
It might be.
I have to try and start the stream again because it's hopping. So Dimitrov facing a break point for the first time in a long time, if you consider. I don't think Zverev maybe got one in the second set as well, did he?
I don't think so.
No, so it's just that one from the first set.
I guess so.
And he
Fifth
saved
game of
it.
the match. He's third on serve, yeah.
He's managed to save it. Right, I've managed to sort my stream out. Yes, Jane, hold it together. Oh, there's Ghost back. How are we doing, Ghost? Good to have you back. I hope we haven't fallen out. And Dimitrov serves an ace to once again go ahead on the ace count. You got any stats there, Damien, about the pointage, like who's won the most points in the match overall? Always quite interested in that one.
Let me check. Still assuming that's Dimitrov, but we'll see. Actually,
Really
currently, at present, it's 79-79.
Wow,
And
good
right
time
now,
to
Dimitrov
ask.
has edged ahead 18-79.
What a time to ask that question. Go on.
True that. I mean, it might be 1:22 a.m., but you did perform very well there.
You appreciate that one, did you, David? I like that.
Sure.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of odds to be able to ask that question when they're actually tied. But I suppose, I don't know, especially after especially after nearly 160 points.
By the way, that double fault from the second set tiebreak was apparently Zverev's first of the event.
Wow. Where are you seeing that? Is that in the Twitter?
Very weird for him. Yeah, someone on Twitter. In fact, I think it was Vanch.
I saw they were
and that's another sick breakdown on the screen right now. Did you see that?
No.
Zverev Dimitrov, points 1, baseline 30 each, net 19 each.
Trust us to get this pure chess match that nobody wants to win and nobody wants to lose. Good slice backhands here from Dimitrov, defending well on the aggression from Zverev. If he wins this point, and he does, Zverev goes long. He outlasts the German, and that is what he's been doing in the first set. And for parts of the second set, just couldn't take his. He never really got the actual set or match point. Served down the tee by Zverev. I mean, that's the tee he pulls out when he's in real trouble. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to win that serve, isn't it? That's the same as Novak does that as well. Down the tee. In fact, most players do that. Zverev, how many? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was at least 14. Block return goes long. We're going to be sitting down soon.
It's a very interesting comment on Twitter that I just saw as well about someone calling this match off-brand Djokovic against AliExpress Federer.
Yes, I like it. Who's who though?
I mean, obviously the AliExpress Federer will be Dimitrov. Yeah.
And that's gone long as well. We're 3-2 Zverev. He's got to be the favourite now, Alexander Zverev, especially with the record and the kind of curse that he has over the Bulgarians. So we're all square again. Been one break of serve in the match, taken by Grigor Dimitrov just when it mattered at the end of the first set. Second set went to tie break, which Zverev won. Double faulted just before. on his first set point, which Damien has just said was his first of the actual whole event. And now we're still with serve. Players not hanging about too much. Dimitrov was in a bit of trouble earlier on in this set, but he managed to fight it off. And yeah, they cannot be separated again. So here we are, 2 hours and 15 minutes in, and we still don't have any idea which way or who is going to face Yannick Sinner in Sunday's final. Still, over 150 people on this so far at the moment. If you make sure you like, hit subscribe to the channel, we'll keep on growing this. I can't remember what the last time, Damon, do you know what the subscription count was the last time you checked?
Over 6.5 for sure. I'm not
John's
exactly
target
sure.
is 10 by the French Open, so help us do that.
What?
I think that's what his goal is.
I thought I thought you were gonna say 10 by the end of the year.
No,
But
I'm
John
sure.
likes to be optimistic with these, and honestly, sometimes he pulls it off.
Absolutely. I think was it not the goal to beat 5 for the Aussie Open and we did it. I'm sure that was.
No, it was 5 until the end of the year, and we got it on New Year's Eve.
There we go. Right, okay, lovely. My batteries just told me a warning, so I'm just putting my charger in.
What was that point? Because I saw Dimitrov at the net, but he didn't win the point.
No idea. I was putting my charger in, so I'm not 100%, fella.
I'll rewind because it might have been like a pretty bad volley miss, I think. Well, maybe not pretty bad, but it was a volley miss indeed.
More pressure for Dimitrov. Last time he was in a bit of trouble, he served it out. He's just served another ace. I don't know if that's 16 that's on the counter on the screen is including that one or not, but he's now well ahead of Alexander Zverev in terms of the ace count. It was 16-13 as the TV just confirms. Down the tee again, good serve. Another ace, 17 now. To be fair to this TNS app today, it's staying on top of exactly when things are happening. Sometimes it does not do that.
With the aces, I think they are pretty reliable, but of course, winners and first errors is completely skewed.
Yeah. Kick serve, second serve, tries to go wide and then down the line, but Zverev has read it, but not that one. There's absolutely no reading that winner. Forehand winner down the opposite line of the previous point. Well played, Grigor Dimitrov, not going away. Many people like myself thought he may have folded by this point, and just patted himself in the back and said, "You know what, pal, you've had a good week. Just chill out." He wants this final. He wants this top 10. And he wants to get a win over Alexander Zverev for the first time in 10 years. First serve, fault. Second serve into the body, but right into the hit zone of Zverev, who does a good return. Gets a block return onto the line. The players are rallying cross court. Zverev tries to change it up by going down the line. Now we're at the Dimitrov forehand. Dimitrov down the line with another forehand backhand by Zverev. Forehand by Zverev up the line. Has it caught the line? No, it looked long.
Probably long, yeah.
It is long. So would it feel?
You guys are not giving us any helping hands here.
I know, man. There's like, what do they get? Given 39 possible games to play, and they've played like, well, aye,
29.
Something like that. God, I can't even compute.
29, and the max right now is 36 because the first set they played 10 out of a possible 13.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, 10. Yeah, I'll just go with that. I'm not even going to try and do the math. That's why I'm a journalist, because I don't do numbers, I do words. Right, second serve coming up. So Dimitrov, he's a hand, pal. Just start blasting away these ones like you did last night. Backhand return. Backhand slice by Dimitrov. Pick up backhand by Zverev. Zverev tries to go down the line. That looked long. Come on, Grigor. Two hour 20 minutes. Taking ages. The count's closing down. He's on to 2. Good serve. Not good serve. Okay, now we have another second serve.
He will not. He will be trying to get it to that backhand, and yeah, he does indeed. Of course, that's a good idea.
There's a tactic. Dimitrov slips a little bit. I thought he was going to slip
Yeah.
again, but Dimitrov could.
That's too
Oh, he
easy.
puts it away.
That's too easy. Like the way that Zverev just lifted the ball to that backhand, I don't know. Maybe he was just expecting Dimitrov to crack anyway, but if you give him a ball like this, nah.
I mean, why is he coming in there? It's just the wrong time to come in, because he's given him
He's
plenty.
had a fair few like issues with this recently, right? I mean, there was that United Cup run when he was in every single tiebreak. He would suddenly, like the entire set, he would be at the net twice, and then
And then the
every
tiebreak.
single tiebreak he would just rush the net on every point. And I think it actually also happened at the Australian Open, maybe against Daniil at one of the tiebreaks or something like that. So yeah, he's had some problems with this actually.
I mean, both players serving really well when they're in trouble, which is one thing I've noticed. I mean, Zverev, another ace. I think Dimitrov has served about 6 or 7 aces in the last 2 games.
Yeah. It's a real race with the ace count, and it's not that both guys are like 2 or something like that. No, they actually
No, I know.
both are finding a lot of them and keeping themselves in games with them.
Oh, is Zverev in trouble here? I mean, he's corner to corner as Dimitrov is still in the rally. Again, change up by Zverev.
Wow.
And wowza, I'm about a millisecond behind you. But when you said wow, I said wow. The applause is all for Dimitrov. A wonderful, absolute killer forehand winner into the corner. Just when it looked like Zverev was going to regain a point there. So here we go. 2 break points need to be taken by Dimitrov.
As we said earlier, like he was 2 points away from the match a couple of occasions, but like this is a real chance. Yeah, it's just 1 point. Anything can happen. A sudden gust of wind could stop the Zverev shot and leave it on his side of the court. There could be a bird.
Wow! Did you see that serve?
Yeah.
I don't even think it made the net.
Really?
I don't know.
Am I going blind because of the fatigue, or
it must be. I thought he just absolutely like a golfer topping each drive.
I thought it was close to the tape, but okay.
Right, so it looks like Dimitrov's in charge of this rally. Really good, strong forehand down the line, and another winner. Oh my god! Oh!
Oh! Holy hell! That will be on Tennis TV. That will be on Twitter.
Now I thought you were laughing because the net cord was going to go over him.
No, I was laughing because
that
he fell
point is iconic.
Yeah.
Dimitrov, for those who are not watching, Dimitrov has just won a point while lying on his back. He's just put away a winner while lying on his back, and that is no word of a lie. Good rally. Dimitrov making all the aggression, all the moves. Same move again. He did the forehand down the line. This
Yeah,
time's
and that forehand down the line, right, has to be pointed out. Like he's been hitting it so well. Just steps like this camera
And he
is actually
steps in
great
at the
for
right
it.
time, doesn't he?
Yeah, this camera is amazing for it. The angle that we just saw, where you like exactly see that he moves a couple of steps. It's super. Again, I mean, I know people hate these comparisons, but it's a very similar technique to Federer. Again, just like never really stopping while hitting that forehand. Right, you just take it as early as possible. You can move forward to the net already, and he
And how
got the
quick were
point.
those reactions?
He got the point, even if it was maybe in the slightly unexpected manner that he did.
Yeah, but the reaction was quick. Like, I mean, I thought you're about a second ahead of me. So when I heard you laughing, I thought, he's going to be there. The ball's hit the net cord. It's looked over his head or something. But no, quick reactions there. And what a way to break serve for the second time in the match. Yet to be broken. Of course, Dimitrov has faced break points, but now he is in the driving seat to make this final against Yannick Sinner and to get himself back into the top 10 for the first time since November 2018. And his first win over Zverev since, when was it? Did you say Basel?
Mm-hmm.
The Basel 2004. Oh, well, obviously 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
I know.
Yes.
I'm honestly, I'm hanging by a thread here. What am I talking about? Yes, I found it. Zverev was a 17-year-old German wildcard ranked 135 in the world at that event.
Yeah, it wasn't too fair. Although that was already after that Hamburg run where he made the semis, so it was like he had some experience at the main tour, but yeah, it wasn't really a fair battle at the time, no.
Wild serve by Dimitrov this time. He's 15 love up. Second serve. Has Zverev still got the fight in him? Good backhand by Dimitrov. Gets a bit of this. That was really nice. I like that one because he was on the run. He was going back away from the net. He used that slice backhand just to reaffirm himself in the rally. And Zverev went wide with the forehand. So, yeah, really nice. Two and a half hours approaching on the match. Fault in the first serve.
It's always like that, when you want a match to be short. It's always
See,
that.
John had asked us, do you want to do the first semi or the second semi? I said, mate, it'll need to be the second semi because I'm playing football until 10 o'clock at night. And then when I saw the result, I'm like, I should have just done the first semi. It'd only been an hour. But never mind. Listen, this has been I've enjoyed this.
No, of course, yeah, but it's always like this. Whenever I set up for something, like for example, okay, so we can do this after a final, for example, or after a match, right? And then that match is always 3.5 hours.
Yeah. Well, what we need to do, Damon, you and I, is we need to make a pact and we say we will never do a match after 11 p.m. at night ever again. And so
It's
John
like the
knows.
ATP kind of does. Now,
Yes,
right?
we are the schedule. We will not play after. If the tennis players won't play after 11, we won't play after 11. And and if he pushes us, then we contact our tennis.
Let's form a union.
I was going to say the YouTube union.
Fans.
The YouTube union. We will form one and we will pick it against that tyrant that is John Silk. I hope he's away eating and he's not hearing this though. Right, so Dimitrov is a game away, 5-3. I may as well stay now. Jesus. He's already 5 minutes late. And he said he was going to be here at 42. Time and a half. You're right, Jane. We should be getting paid much more than this.
You're implying we're getting paid.
Exactly. That's why I was smiling. That's why I was smiling at the camera.
Sorry, I didn't see your reaction because I was watching the stream. That would have been good. Yeah, I kind of ruined it now.
Dimitrov, love 15. Zverev game is gone to pot here. First serve, wide. Second serve, Dimitrov. Anyone think Grigor can beat Yannick? Damien, I think we talked about this earlier on a little bit.
No. I mean, it's going to be very tough to deliver that level again, to beat an opponent who's currently significantly stronger than him. It's going to be very, very tough.
Yes, and he's the form player in the world right now, isn't he? Only lost once this year, Australian Open Rotterdam final. He is the real deal, this guy.
If they play golf, yeah, he can beat Yannick.
Why, is Dimitrov a good golfer, is he?
I don't know. He just feels like a golfer to me.
I actually went golfing this morning.
Oh,
That's why I'm also tired. It's been a very sporty day.
true. Although with golf, I guess, you probably wouldn't spend that much energy. I don't know.
Oh, here, listen, you spend a lot of energy with golf, tell you that. You're walking for miles. Oh,
Ah, yeah,
you're
walking.
You're
Yeah,
carrying a
I didn't
bag.
think of that. Yeah, because on the actual shot you don't, but then you also have to. Well, maybe you have a caddy. I don't know, but like you have to walk through between the holes. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah, sure.
Another nice backhand slice by Dimitrov. It really has been the shot that's helped him in this match. That one looked long. It wasn't. Dimitrov nearly stopped. But the players are still rallying at the moment. It's backhand to backhand at the moment. Dimitrov forehand, looping forehand. This time another backhand. That goes wide. Long. And Zverev wins the point 40-15. So we're looking like they will sit down and then sorry, I got distracted by being called out for golf being posh. Jeez. Yes, golf. Very, very good sport, but only if you're half decent at it. And I'm not, by the way. So it can be one of the most frustrating sports in the game. Right, the players are at it again. Long by Zverev. Maybe I do need a caddy. I actually misread that. That's how tired I am. I actually misread that, thinking that said maybe you need a cuddle. I do need a cuddle. Zverev is what happens when you tell your child you love him a little too much. I can't believe I read that out. I don't know why I read that out. Right, okay. Where do we go from here? Right, come on, Zverev. Double fault this. I can't believe that wasn't it. Double fault. Good point. Good point. Dimitrov's got it back. Oh, wow. Good length on it.
Gonna have to serve it out.
Aye.
Still hasn't been broken in this entire match, right, Grigor Dimitrov? So
don't say that. Why did you say that? You know it's going to happen now.
Has to be said.
Why would you jinx it?
Just 2 breakpoints. Why does David hate Nadal? What?
Can you not see him in the background?
I can see him in the back, yes. He is waving his hand.
We've been doing this while he's been at the pub. Is that what's been happening?
I'm assuming. I mean, he kind of looks the part, yeah.
He wears that to the pub?
He's having such a big laugh about it, and yeah, he's nodding as well.
What is it, a biker's bar? Hell's Angels bar. That's where he was. Going piss.
Jesus.
Right. Right, anyway, let's go. Let's go, Grigor. Let's go.
I really feel like my father returned from like a late night voyage or something.
Yeah. Miami, that looks like. I mean, from the shot that I'm seeing right now, the place does look actually quite wonderful. I know
The
it
pub?
has its critics, but
The pub?
no, Miami, the shot. I don't know what pub. I would not like to ask what kind of pub John Silt
Me either. I've been
frequents on
to
a
a few
Friday night.
Bond pubs, but I don't really remember the names or the
Yeah, I mean,
layout.
I don't think you'd be allowed to say it on this stream about what pubs John goes to on a Friday night. Is Dimitrov, has he made that?
No, no.
Okay, 3 points.
Way wide.
This will be a big win, though. I mean, we've talked about how much of a big win it'll be, but in terms of beating Zverev, this is just like this form this year is. Where is Dimitrov in the race? By the way, did you tell me earlier? Is he 6?
Should be like top 8-ish. And we were talking about Daniel Collins, I think, earlier.
Oh, so you were good.
What happens if she wins Miami, right? But I don't think we mentioned Dimitrov's race position as he hits this beautiful stab
Brilliant
volley
point.
to get 30 love. He is already 6th. If he wins the title, he would be 4th ahead of Alcaraz. Wow. But if he only makes the final, then he would stay at 6. But yeah, I mean, at this stage, we are talking especially with him and Alex de Minaur, we are talking about potential touring campaigns, yes.
Right, 2 big serves needed. Come on. Brilliant. 3 match points. Serving volley. Old school. If Dimitrov wins this, John Silk is not coming on this stream to talk nonsense for 10 minutes because I'm going to my bed and telling you that. Tell you. And it's long and wide. Dimitrov wins. Top 10. Backhander. Lovely.
And you can see it means a lot to him.
Go
for
away.
Sure. There's a
Hi,
hug
John.
with Sasha too at the net. Seems pretty nice. I think that the guys are friendly with one another, which might be controversial, but
Hi, John. Did you have a good evening?
I'm a point behind. But yeah, Dimitrov in the final. Nonsense, of course, for the next 5 minutes. But you said 10. We can keep it to
Keep it to 5.
Tom,
Okay. I'll give you that. And then it's lights out.
Tom,
yeah.
by the way, how was the 11-a-side football?
It was good. We won 8-3 and I
8-3.
scored.
Oh, you scored?
I scored the 8th. No, I scored the 7th.
Yeah, that sounds classic Tom, really.
Oh, it was a tap-in.
Yeah, a tap-in that doesn't matter.
Tapping at the back post. Actually, what happened was the boy played it across goal and the striker in front of me totally mishit it and I was just standing there at the back post and I just tapped it in. So we won 8-3.
Damien, how was it with the like translation of Tom's English? By the way, were you coping okay with that?
Sometimes there's a word I will not understand, but usually it's like one word, and then it's easy from the context.
When Tom says no, you're like, that one word is quite important.
There was one occasion maybe when I didn't actually fully get what he said, and I just sort of skipped answering.
Why am I just remaining on this stream just to have my accent taken apart?
Well, I mean, what?
Such an obvious joke.
Yeah, it was too easy.
So
but anyway, yeah, great. I'm glad you got through this. Dimitrov, I thought when he beat Alcaraz, I thought, yeah, he's gonna just disappoint us all and flummox it. But he did it, Tom. He did it.
He did do it, mate. And we said that right at the start of the stream. We said like his career has been littered with these like big performances, beating the top players and then coming unstuck in the next round. I think we spoke about Australia, how he'd had a really good start to the year and then come unstuck against Nuno Borges, as Damien pointed out. So, yeah, really happy for him. We were talking about the statage that there was 2 streaks he was finishing today. I don't know if you heard us earlier on talking about it. He'd obviously not beat Zverev for nearly 10 years.
Right.
And then he jumps into 3rd place for the man who has the longest time like leaving the top 10 and then getting back into it. So it's 260 weeks. And he overtakes Gael Monfils, who had 252 weeks. And Gilles Simon is first and Albert Costa is second. So that was quite interesting, we thought.
Yeah, right. Of course, I'm sure that Dimitrov and Zverev in particular, actually, right now is probably thinking, I wish I'd signed up for Estoril. I mean, yeah.
There was that late entry thing, I think maybe until Thursday. They added that to 250 this year, but he didn't take it.
I mean, there's a thing, by the way. If you play Estoril and you win it, you get to the final of Roland Garros. So there's a pattern that started last year.
Yeah.
Well, I've warned Damien. I've asked him if he's prepared to be housed with you, the 24 party man, for a week, and he says he's done it before.
Done it before. But the time before, we were living on an Australian time zone, so
yeah, it was different. Like it was a little less Silk Gone Wild than.
You're John. You're only allowed to go to the pub 3 times over the next week.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And I was talking to Vanch a couple of days ago, and I said, "Oh well, we'll have a chat. We'll have a chat post stream." And I was thinking, yeah, I think we can probably figure that out some night next week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Damien and I've met before, of course, but we're going to meet in European time zone in every way, shape, and form in a couple of days from now.
Yeah, contrary to Bonn, where we were living in the Australian time zone somehow.
Yeah, right. Tom, big thanks for seeing us through, by the way.
Tonight. No, it's okay, mate. It's okay, but I will call it a day, and I'm sure we will stay in touch throughout the next week when you guys are sunning yourself in Portugal and seeing lots of good quality tennis. So
that sounded good, Tom, but can you say it again in English?
No. I'll just get subtitles.
All right.
I'll
click end stream as well. So speak to you soon, and Damien, I'll see you in a couple of days.
See you.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.